Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level 1 News. Today is June 20th, 2021. We're doing government and security news today.
There's so much government and security news. There will be an orange soda review, but it's coming in a bit.
He forgot to grab it out of the fridge.
Not today.
We're on a time crunch today.
Yeah. It's not today unless you're on Patreon.
Let's talk about what's probably the most terrifying one first. Now, again, I will harken back to this could never happen. Also, I should point out that I didn't see a mainstream media source of this. Did you?
No.
This is apparently just from insider sources. Might be fake.
White House may work with carriers to screen the anti-thing. I don't even want to say that word because of fear of monetization. But that tells you that things are being screened. Why don't we just extend the algorithm to our private text messages? What could possibly go wrong? This says may work with carriers. So again, I think this might be a bit of a nothing burger.
I think what they will probably do is they will hope that carriers will do this voluntarily. I don't know if they will compel them yet.
Well, it's probably not constitutional for them to compel them, but if they volunteer to do it,
then it's okay.
Something tells me that those founding fathers would not agree to that.
Yeah.
There might be the letter, but it's not the spirit. And we all know that hacking is, it's an everyday thing now. You see a headline every day. It's affecting your life because your oil prices and your food shortages and so forth.
Bread.
What can we do about it? Well, the White House is constantly coming up with new ideas. This is their latest one.
U.S. offers a $10 million U.S. reward for info on state-sponsored hackers disrupting critical infrastructure. They've gone so far as to set up a dark web tips portal, and they're willing to pay in cryptocurrency. There's a lot of stuff that goes along with this. They seem very serious about it. And this also gave me an idea for a new YouTube series. So like Level 1 goes hunting for hackers, and we turn it into a reality series, chasing the $10 million bounty.
Until we get to 10 million, then the series is over.
Yeah.
Is there a house that all the contestants have to live in as well, and they get voted out each week?
I think that would be a lot of fun. We could rotate in security people that know what they're doing every week.
Or we vote out the hackers.
Yeah. We could bring in like the Gordon Ramsay type that's like, you're an idiot sandwich. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying.
I feel like it'd be harder to make an IT person cry.
Boy, isn't that just Torvalds?
Oh, good point.
Yeah. So this used to be a $5 million prize for this type of thing. They have bumped it to 10, and they've opened up some of the people that can participate a little bit further. So they're really hoping to get those rats on the ship.
There's part of me that's like, couldn't we put some of that money toward, actually fixing our infrastructure? And it's like, no.
Well,
no.
10 million, what's it going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not, it's too much to get into, but some of the congressional hearings with like, what do we do about the ransomware problem? And it's like, that's like, what do we do about the crumbling bridge problem? Somebody is crumbling our bridges, and it's like, no, that's neglect. That's a symptom of neglect.
Could we just, repair them and build them better for next time? No. Let's just have a bunch of meetings about it and not do anything.
But also, I don't know if you have to be a U.S. citizen for this, but couldn't the ransomware gangs who are untouchable in this country simply rat themselves out and collect 10 million?
It probably doesn't work that way, but yeah.
Oh, I would be shocked. Lina Khan has been making a lot of headlines because she's doing a lot of stuff, whereas her predecessor maybe didn't do quite so much stuff. But she's also been very, very vocal on Twitter. And some of the things she says, they're a little red. And a lot of people are crying out and saying that is a problem.
This is a follow-up to the story that we did, I think, last week. And Facebook has formally asked for the FTC Chair Lina Khan to be recused from its antitrust case. Their position before July 14th was basically, are you really going to force us to formally ask for this? It's so obvious. It would be embarrassing for everybody if we really actually formally requested this. And everybody was like, what are you talking about? And then they were like, well, look, obviously she's not a good fit. It seems like a stall tactic, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, she has absolutely gone after Facebook by name and said the exact things that this whole, investigation is supposed to figure out. So they're saying, hey, she's got preconceived notions. But it raises an interesting question. Is she wrong?
It sounds to me like the old lead in the gasoline thing. It's like, well, she's previously pointed out there's lead in the gasoline, and that is a negative connotation. Let's not imply negative things about lead in the gasoline.
Yeah, if all the things that she said before are provably true, then where's the conflict?
Yeah.
Was
the conflict is Facebook doesn't want to deal with that.
She wasn't supposed to notice anything about the world until she took this job. She should be just, kept in a cell.
Just a big old lung full of lead.
And the FCC, the other organization, which, kind of shares responsibilities, even though it's not designed that way, has updated some standards, or is talking about updating some standards, still laughably low.
Yeah. The FCC speed standard that Ajit Pai never updated is too slow, the Government Accountability Office report says. The FCC raised its standard to 25 megabit/3 megabit of upload in 2015 and hasn't changed it since. You know what it was in the early 90s? 45/45. The benchmark for the early 2000s in 1995 was 45 megabit/45 megabit. 45 megabit of upload would be nice.
Yeah, would.
No one has that.
Even the people who aren't on the low download.
Yeah.
Upload, I think most people don't realize.
how horrible it makes your life?
Or how useful, like how much having more upload is. They're like, well, I don't upload stuff. They don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't share files. I don't need it.
Oh, sweet summer child.
The big Jedi contract is dead, but we have not stopped looking into the corpse of it.
Does that mean the Sith Lords won?
Oh, they won when Kathleen Kennedy took over. But
that's why you subscribe.
What's going on here is that they're digging into it and they're finding that there was some internal communications and there was a bit of a buddy relationship going on between the Pentagon and Amazon. And that is not some place where we should have a buddy relationship.
Republicans call for Amazon to testify on Pentagon relationship. The tech giant has another shot at a lucrative defense contract, but there's a lot of people inside the Defense Department that seem to kind of really suck up to Amazon people.
And had previously lobbied for them.
So there was an assistant to the guy in charge, and the assistant had previously lobbied for them and got him in a room for a sales pitch. And the guy that was there from the government for the sales pitch notated in email that he was uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortably intense sales meeting. And I've been in those before, and it's like, the ex-football player jock type is basically like yelling at you, like, you're going to buy our product.
We're in a tiny room. Why are you screaming, sir?
Yeah. And it's like, oh, I know exactly what that's like.
Obviously, the Republicans don't like Jeff Bezos, so they have their own reasons for this, I'm sure, but they're probably not wrong in terms of the incestuous relationship.
If they're complaining about that for Amazon, I don't understand why they're not complaining about that with Oracle, because every account of Larry Ellison inside the Department of Defense is that or worse.
What major left-wing mouthpiece does Larry Ellison own? Well, there you go. Twitter has reported for the second time ever its annual report of who has been deleting tweets from governments. And brace yourselves.
It sounds like a game show.
Yeah. America no longer number one.
Exclusive. Twitter sees a jump in government demands to remove content of reporters and news outlets. Your weekly update on those reporters in India for reporting on the cow poop and urine, they're still in jail.
And that has rocketed India to the number one position. Turkey still in the running, and of course the U.S. still in there.
Sigh.
What a great crowd to be in terms of government censorship. Aren't we supposed to be the house on the hill?
I don't think we have been for a while.
You got to give it to Amazon. I would say, Jeff Bezos, a lot of people talk about his big accomplishments before he stepped down. I think the biggest one is he crushed the unions, right? How did he do that?
It's ongoing. History hasn't written that chapter yet.
But the longer he stops it, the more, billions he makes, right? Every day we go without unionization, he wins that day. Yeah. And it seems like over here, he's at least battered them back. I think the Teamsters are gearing up for a run. But across the pond, they're doing their own thing.
The UK's biggest trade union takes aim at Amazon over price gouging allegations. And this is, of course, during the global situation that we all find ourselves in. It's like, why does toilet paper cost 8 times as much as normal? It's like, well, it looks like Amazon was price gouging. Now, Amazon, for its part, says, no, that was sellers. That's just supply and demand. That's just capitalism. But they've got some of the data, and they're trying to get more, and it doesn't look like that. It looks like Amazon was like, oh, yeah, we'll take a piece of that pie.
And the big thing that the linchpin of their argument is fulfilled by Amazon.
Yeah.
They can prove that a lot of these orders were fulfilled by Amazon. Does that make them responsible? I think it kind of probably should. And Google also embroiled in the EU courts.
Google defied EU antitrust fine at court hearing from September 27th, according to sources. I think that Google is probably going to be more successful with this than most people realize, just because the EU sort of, I think, was tripping over itself to get to the fine. It's clear that Google has violated European law, I think, just in their normal way that they operate. But I think the fine is going to be reduced from about $4.5 billion to probably under $1 billion, and then everybody will be happy. That's just my guess, though.
Going to be a 5-day hearing. Boy, that'll be fun to attend, won't it?
Yeah. I say they'll try to drag it out as long as possible, too. There are some parts of the law that would basically be impossible to comply with as Google is currently in business. So it's sort of, they're an impossible situation. It's like, make as much money flagrantly violating the law, or make slightly less money sort of skirting the spirit and intention of the law, or just pull out of the market entirely.
Hilariously, we could recycle that same commentary for the next story. It's the exact same situation.
France fines Google 500 million euros over a copyright row. So, yeah. This story is kind of... I'm kind of on France's side here, which is unusual.
Well, this has to do with the news organizations. Really? You think that they should pay the news organizations?
I don't think it should be structured this way, but Google's been playing hardball, so it's kind of like...
Well, France did pass the law, they said you have to come to the table.
And Google said they were going to do some things, and they didn't do them.
They didn't come to the table.
Yeah.
They didn't come at all. I think in Google's argument here is like, well, they're kind of, you put us over a barrel. They're not negotiating. They're just giving us a number, and we've rejected that number. But France is like, well, you know.
I mean, that's kind of how governments do, though.
I would have been on Google's side here if they had changed the scraping to just be the headlines, but they didn't change anything. They literally just did nothing.
But they're giving them traffic.
Well, that's true.
Just stop giving them traffic. Just starve them. Take your hit early and destroy these media companies. New media companies are so ready. They're so ready. Just need to clear the forest.
Oh, this was the one that I really agreed with.
Oh, this is well, of course. No, this is true. So this we've got a couple of stories about all of a sudden people are concerned. There must be like a copyright lobby that's got some sort of program going right now. They're like, we got to stop this. But anything that downloads now, of course, when you view a video on the internet, you've downloaded it. You've downloaded it already. There's nothing about stream ripping that you're not already doing.
There's a hilarious U.S. court case where the judge said that it wasn't legal to have a DVD go from the DVD disc to the memory of the computer, and it was like...
What about tiny chunks? Can we do it that way?
Stream ripping can be perfectly legal, the French Ministry of Culture says. So it has to meet 3 criteria under French law. It's like, 1, the source has to be a legit source. So you couldn't, stream rip.
If it was already pirated when you saw the stream.
Yeah, that's not okay. But if it's like you're watching Taylor Swift music on YouTube.
Posted by Taylor Swift.
That's okay. That meets the first criteria. The second criteria, I forgot. And the third criteria is it must not circumvent a technological protection measure.
That's the one in question.
That's the one at issue, yeah. Because they're saying YouTube has a rolling cipher to prevent things, but as Ryan alluded to, you're still watching it.
But I only download those chunks in chunk format. I assemble them myself later. How's that any different?
Exactly. I think I always think about like the VCR ruling. Like if you record, over-the-air TV or cable TV onto a VCR, you're time shifting it. Can you time shift video on the internet? And it seems like you should be able to. It's a little murkier under U.S. law, even as relatively unmurky as the French law is. It's still a little murky.
Good luck stopping it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say they win here and they get what they want. How are they gonna? They're just gonna make life harder for most people.
Yeah. Well, they'll go after device makers. Can you imagine MP3s coming up in a world where the things were a little more draconian? They would just prevent MP3 players from existing.
If somebody had the the Seeing Stone back then and they saw now, they would have done everything they could to destroy him. They would have got that guy killed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. India plays hardball with the big tech companies and everything, and more lately, they are just saying, listen, either you play by the rules or you're done. And these big companies, it's funny, they're not used to that, so they just ignore it. Yeah. But it seems like India's not tolerating that anymore.
India bans Mastercard from adding new customers, and the reason for this is because they are not complying with internal reporting requirements for people that have money. They want the data stored on servers inside the country, and they want to be able to compel Mastercard to give up that data at a moment's notice, basically, on any Mastercard holder. And Mastercard doesn't want to play that game, apparently.
A weird one where you have to side with the credit giant. Not too often you get those.
The lesser of two evils, which is impressive.
How do you think Mastercard feels about cow urine? Well, I got to tell you, I love watching protest footage. I don't know why, but I can just watch it all day long, and I'm enjoying the Cuban stuff.
So I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah, well, they're pretty good protesters down there.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is the new playbook. When your people get unruly, what do?
As Cubans protest, the government cracks down on internet access and messaging apps. They shut down the internet for 30 minutes in Cuba. There's a lot of unrest there because of the mishandling of the global situation, maybe, and some economic...
food shortages.
Yeah, some economic problems.
I think it gets more toward the leadership.
Yeah.
So, interesting. It's interesting how many people are defending the communists in our media right now. That's a new thing. Clubhouse, that hot new, I don't know, is it still hot? Have you heard much? I don't hear much about Clubhouse anymore.
Facebook launched their clone, which made it old news.
Okay. So maybe this is the nail in the coffin.
Jordan's government used secretly recorded Clubhouse audio to spread disinformation. Wow. That's how, like, we'll know we've made it when the Level 1 news program has used to spread disinformation.
I'm all about spreading some disinformation. Let's do it. It was not clear to me if this was like whose audio exactly they were using for what purpose, and like secretly recorded. I mean, anybody could record a Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So, but it was sort of like a hearts and minds type of video where they just used somebody's voice and did a kind of thing, and that person did not approve that.
Well, we've got the story coming up about the AI voice reproduction. I mean, it seems like some of these countries are just, a faked recorded voice of their leader saying horrible things about their populace away from revolution.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, and it's not just the CIA that can do that anymore. Any 12-year-old trolling from their bedroom could definitely do that.
We're getting to the point where visual stuff will be happening with deepfakes.
Yeah.
And people won't be able to tell the difference.
But given that truth, imagine what the CIA can do now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably worse because when eventually something does leak, like when there's video of some politicians like, oh yeah, that international person, we had him picked up and arrested and tortured.
Wasn't me.
And it was real. Then it's like, oh no, that was a deep fake. And it's like,
you can't know anymore.
Do you know what R. Kelly's court defense was about being on video with an underage girl?
That wasn't me.
Twin brother. He's got a twin brother.
Wow.
If you're the twin brother, are you like, you're sitting there eating some cereal, it's like, man, I hope R is doing good in his case, and it's like you just drop your ball. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Does he really have a twin?
Yeah.
Wow.
What an asshole. I didn't know that.
Who could have thought that a man who would pee on a 14-year-old might do something like that?
Throw his brother under the...
Well, we definitely hear a lot about the North Korean hackers. We hear a lot about the Russian hackers, the Iranian hackers. Oh my God, don't get me started on the Chinese hackers. But there's one country that does a lot of hacking, doesn't really get called out for it very much.
Mysterious Israeli spyware vendors Windows 0 days have been caught in the wild. Microsoft and Citizen Lab found a new kind of spyware made by the mysterious Israeli vendor Kandaroo and targeting someone in Europe based on their political beliefs. This is the trifecta of all of the things that they promised wouldn't happen if they built these tools.
So this is similar to the NSA thing, except this one, it was not caught by being leaked. It was just caught in progress. But we previously didn't know about it. That's an interesting day to find out that you're being politically targeted, isn't it? I wonder if you sleep well that night.
No. No, you do not.
Are you politically targeted if your beliefs are that's like, every citizen should have a fighting chance at a reasonable and comfortable life, and just
that's extremist content, sir. Stop posting extremist content on our social platform.
Or they should be represented in the government or have autonomy over their own bodies, stuff like that.
Extremist
just weird
content.
Stuff. Yeah.
Disinformation.
Well, we are still learning about SolarWinds, and the newest detail about it is not about the SolarWinds hack that we're familiar with, but one that happened concurrently.
The iOS 0 day let SolarWinds hackers compromise fully updated iPhones. Yes, this is beginning to get into in order for SolarWinds to have been as successful as it has, the rabbit hole has to go deeper. And finally, here we are, months later, and we've peeled back the linoleum almost all of the way, but not quite. And this is what we find. As you string together a whole bunch of vulnerabilities, and some of them obvious, some of them not so obvious, and they're still targeting customers. There were a few specific SolarWinds customers that had been targeted well after the breach has been fixed. And that's sort of when you're lulled into a false sense of security. It's like, oh, we got the update. No, you didn't. Just like the print spooler vulnerability. We're up to date and it's fixed. It's not.
Bad news. Bad news if you thought that was over. Now, I would have told you yesterday that there is a very, very high number of reasons not to use Ring doorbells. But today, I have to correct myself and say there's only 49,999 reasons left not to use a Ring doorbell.
Well, actually, the headline's inaccurate, so maybe it's still the same. Amazon rolls out encryption for Ring doorbells, asterisk. Only a few of them, and definitely not the wireless ones, and definitely not the most popular models.
And this doesn't guarantee that they won't still give law enforcement access.
Yeah.
So it's not really rolling that out for the Ring then?
Nothing has changed. The only reason we included this story was to warn you that you might see stories that make it sound like the product is improving, when in fact, it is not. You're welcome.
Maybe it's just time. Just don't do it. Don't have a Ring doorbell at all.
I think anybody who's got a Ring doorbell is ignoring those pleas in the first place.
Yeah, it's true. My aunt and uncle did ignore me.
Yes.
And they've got one.
Amazon wants to monitor everything, including your sleep.
And you might be saying, well, hey, man, I got a sleep app on my phone. That's really useful. I really like it. Well, it's different. This is a different way of monitoring sleep, and it's much scarier.
Amazon wants to monitor you in your sleep for your benefit. How can we sell you more stuff while you sleep?
Well, we can use radar. And to monitor you via radar, you don't have to be aware of it. That's the problem. They also were kind of cagey on exactly what this hardware looks like, but they did admit one thing, which is it's not mobile. So it must be a big unit.
Yeah.
Radar in your house while you sleep. It's truly a brave new world.
How much radiation can a sleeping body absorb?
They're tracking that data. Don't worry.
There was a study that suggested the metal bed frames led to a slightly higher incidence of cancer because there's not cancer in societies that have beds that don't have metal frames. So I don't know how true that is.
So just like the frequencies in the air are being...
Yeah, the metal frame turns into an antenna, and then it picks it up, and you're just in constant contact with that.
Just right into your genitals.
Yeah, it was like and in Japanese culture, it's just there's no metal, so it's like what happens there?
We probably have a higher incidence of cancer anyway, just from growing up in Eastern Kentucky.
But there's so many other factors.
Yeah,
it'd be tough to prove.
You can't isolate it.
Well, I remember when we did a story about Biden, talking strong against Russia, I kind of laughed at it. But maybe I cannot think that this resulted from that. But hey, correlation is not causation, but we do have a causation here.
Cybersecurity ransomware gang REvil vanishes from the web after Biden warning. Here's a hint. If anybody's in REvil and you're watching, what you need to do is go to that new tips line and turn yourself in, but instead of 10 million, maybe ask for 5 in U.S. citizenship or asylum or something. It's like the state made me do whatever. It would be you get a new life in suburbia. It'll be great.
I would not do that.
I would not trust that.
Do not trust the U.S. government to provide for you.
You will get a new life in Abu Ghraib. and no one will ever hear from you again. And you will be telling them a lot of details in between waterboardings. Don't do it. Also, if you are a part of REvil and you're watching this, note our Bitcoin donation address.
Patreon.com/level1.
And speaking of Russian bots, we got one that has returned from the dead.
Trickbot strikes back. The U.S. authorities attempted to hobble an infamous cyber criminal group last year, but it looks like the gang is back in action. New command and control servers that are different than the ones that were seized, but maybe not. They still have the keys.
You think it's the same group, or is it a new group that's just taken on their name?
That would be an interesting misdirection tactic, is to leak your own keys and let somebody else take over what you were doing.
Yeah. Smart thing. You know what else is smart? Mining crypto with someone else's electricity.
Take a look inside this underground crypto mining farm in Ukraine with its 3,800 PlayStations and 5,000 computers. It doesn't look very underground. It looks like there's windows.
It's like a berm style building.
It's like partially underground. Doesn't seem like super underground.
But they were stealing an insane amount of electricity.
$300,000 a month.
$259, $300 every month. Wow.
How do you not notice that?
Because they were using special meters, utility meter. I guess they were using magnets. Can you still do that? You used to be able to use magnets and keep that thing from spinning. But I think they got good at figuring that out. Maybe not here.
It's like, why are we using so much raw natural gas or coal or whatever the electricity was running from?
Also, do you think these were PS5s? They didn't say which PlayStation.
Yeah, another report on this said they were PS5s.
Wow.
Where did they find that many PS5s?
Well, that's where they've all been going.
Friend's going to be devastated. He's been trying to get one for months.
Maybe these will be on eBay soon.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be worth something.
Gently
then.
used.
Yeah.
It does seem like the graphics card shortages are easing because my bots have popped up a lot in the last couple of weeks that were like 3070, 3090.
Well, Kaseya, as the story with all of these big attacks, after it starts to, after with the big drama, we start to hear from people who were inside, and you hear mostly from people who used to work there and don't work there anymore. And a lot of these people don't work there anymore because of the problems at Kaseya.
Kaseya was warned about security flaws years ahead of ransomware attack. Employees say they quit or were fired over obvious problems. I think this is the story that has one report from an employee who's like, yeah, I wrote up a couple of things and I was kind of
40
insistent.
pages.
It's like I was kind of insistent about it, and they just let me go because they didn't want to hear about it anymore.
Fired him after 2 weeks. And he apparently did a full, exhaustive report. And listen, I get it. He's one of these 5-paragraph comment guys. He doesn't know how to present his information, and that hurts him. That might be part of it, but if you're the top brass, there's no excuse.
Yeah, you still would look at that and be like, there's something to this.
Even if you wanted to fire him because he was annoying, you would fire him, and then you would hand that to another junior person and be like, look into this. Get this done. So, probably some lawsuit fodder there, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, bad news.
Someone who often has to generate those kind of documents, it really just feels like screaming into the void most of the time.
And in fact, not only screaming into the void, but angering the void and being destroyed by it.
To be fair, I haven't had too many angry reactions. People just don't read documentation that I send them.
Yeah.
How do I use this website? Here's a document that lays it out with a table of contents so you can look up your question specifically.
I constantly have that fear, and I would recommend to anybody, you should do this, but it is annoying. You should always read what you just wrote in an email and then try to cut as much as you can.
Yeah.
Just destroy it as much as you can. Get the message across, but cut any fluff out of it. And I'm constantly paranoid about that. It makes writing emails so awful and long, though.
I don't think any of us are particularly great at writing email. Not naturally. I think we can do it, but I think all of us, everyone in this office has that problem where you have to really comb through an email to make sure your meaning's getting across.
And also, I feel like I have to say things 5 or 6 different ways because somebody's just, it's like, which part are they going to gloss over?
Yeah.
Which makes it longer.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a vicious circle. Well, the Standards and Technology Institute have a recommendation, and if you think to yourself, what would be the most bedrock recommendation about current malware and hacking, I think they've hit it right on the bullseye.
They have.
Yeah.
This is the only one that they can give.
The NIST, our National Institute of Standards and Technology, recommends that all government agencies assume that they have already been hacked and proceed from there. They've got a lot of really good recommendations, like Deploy things that would give you indications of compromise, IOC. Deploy things for log aggregation and monitoring. Look for any anomalous activity. These are really good pieces of advice.
I'm sure that every company is going to adopt this immediately.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. Oh, they're going to double their security budget because that's what's necessary in the current and modern age.
I want to laugh, but I'm kind of crying.
If we, and it might come to this, you know what? It probably will come to this. But if we gave companies a subsidy for online security, they would treat it exactly like the corn subsidies and exactly like the FCC subsidies. They would hoard the money and do nothing.
Yeah.
Speaking of subsidies, be sure to check out our Linode link below, where Linode will give you a $100 subsidy towards your new account so that you can do experimentation and learn how to protect yourself from all of the awful on the internet.
And they'll give us a tiny, tiny subsidy to offset YouTube, treating us like second-class citizens.
Everybody wins.
Thanks, Linode.
Krista,
Is that it? Are we done?
you got to say bye.
All right, well, that's it. Bye. Hello, everybody. Today is July 21st. Today we're doing business and social news. But before we do that, we have some orange soda reviews for you.
2 sodas today.
Yeah.
Are we doubling down?
Well, I don't know which one I'm going to run out of first. This is Focus. I think I did this one before, the blood orange one.
Yeah, I think you did do this one.
This was in the fridge. A few of these have disappeared because we're in an office and the springtime, the birds are returning. No, I don't know. So
Focus with a PH.
yeah.
And it's got, notice that the logo on this, the O looks like a power button.
And this looks like a very craft version of
Yeah.
the old orange soda.
This is an orange cream soda. Oh, somebody's going to complain about the sound of the
Yeah,
bottle
we were
going
sliding
across
it.
the
We probably
desk.
shouldn't have slid that across.
So, cream soda is not in the running for best thirst quencher orange soda.
Really?
'Cause orange cream is not really. Is this 170 calories per bottle? Good lord.
I would expect more.
30 milligrams sodium, 45 grams of carbohydrates. 45.
All sugar, I bet.
It's all sugar, yeah. Contains filtered carbonated water, cane sugar, that's nice. Orange juice concentrate, natural artificial flavor, citric acid.
It's got orange juice in it. Wow.
Sodium benzoate, food starch modified, ester gum, yellow number 6, red number 40, and BHA to protect flavor. So I wonder if cane sugar is like real butter, because it's like, oh, you shouldn't have butter, and then it's like, well, butter is less bad for you than oils.
No, because see, here's the thing about it. Cane sugar is fine if you're eating the cane and getting all that fiber.
Oh, but it's refined.
Right.
Yeah, it's the refinement process that makes it not as good.
It's like cocaine.
Not at all. Chewing cocoa leaves, absolutely addictive.
It's such a nice orange and cream. It's got the smell. It's perfect. This is Hank's, by the way, in case I didn't say.
It's early to be calling it perfect.
Yeah, you've not even tasted
The
it.
odor is perfect.
The bouquet.
It is very lightly carbonated, strong cream, but then the vapor carries the orange flavor.
I don't like it when a soda's not heavily carbonated, because then it's just syrup water.
Except this is sugar water.
Yeah.
It is not as syrupy as the Balls soda,
Well, the cane sugar would certainly point to that.
but it is definitely at least 300% more syrupy than, say, Diet Orange Crush.
Makes sense.
Definitely very strong cream taste, and then you pick up the orange. It's almost like a 1-2 punch, because at first you don't taste the orange. The orange flavor is carried on the bouquet.
The cream is more of the jab, you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have like the wine tasting glass thing where you like swirl it around your mouth and spit it out again.
Spit in a bucket.
Yeah.
I don't want to get drunk. No. It's-
All right, well, letter grade. You got to give it a letter grade.
For an orange cream soda, this is a solid A, maybe an A+.
Wow.
Wow.
But this was not something,
It's not a thirst quencher.
a hard day of getting the vines off my trees, not a thirst quencher.
No. Also not compatible with life on a daily basis.
No.
You got that English ivy?
Yeah.
That's wildly invasive. Do not plant that. They sell it at garden centers. Do not plant it.
Yeah, don't plant it. Somebody planted it about 50 years ago, and now 80% of my yard is that. And it's killing the trees that are wonderful old maple trees that I don't want to die. And they're just like, we're giving up on life.
Don't plant it.
So, we also got some merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's Rudog.
And I had no idea.
Yeah, I stole images of your cats.
This was in the I could have given you some better images.
Look at that.
Store.level1text.
We've got a bunch of new designs, but we also did pet designs.
There are a bunch.
Wildly self-indulgent.
What else we got?
This one, so a patron a few months ago asked me to do a King of the Hill style design, and we put that on a t-shirt.
That's what you get when you give us $300.
I've not seen that.
We're standing in front of the fence.
So, Wendell is Hank.
I don't know the characters.
Dale, is that the Dale that guy's name?
I mimicked the art style, so I don't know any of the characters.
Who are you supposed to be?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know any of the characters. You make your decisions below. And buy one at
Engagement challenge.
store.level1text.com. There's a ton. There's so many designs, but you can go check them out. We should be having mouse pads
we should
come
power
out.
through them real quick.
I love this one.
I don't. What is it?
It's Wendell. It's Wendell, but with lights in his hands and in his eyes.
God, it looks like a horror thing.
Yeah, I love it.
That's after one too many orange sodas.
Or none. Not enough orange
I
sodas.
think you gave me this idea. It's just a simple. We do a lot of penguin designs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a bunch.
That'll get you kicked out of a PTA meeting.
This one can't. So I ordered these a long time ago, but it took a while for John to get them all in because, delays and everything. Flash died earlier this year. I made a t-shirt to commemorate it. But now it's like kind of old news, but if you're also excited about Flash being dead.
Can you imagine a member of the opposite sex approaching you and be like, what's that?
I dare you to wear the Adobe Flash shirt to the Adobe Cold Fusion meetings whenever those happen again.
Hoodies coming out for fall. It's got our beautiful little patch on it. I think we still sell the patches. I don't know that we'll order those again, but if we do,
it's embroidered.
It's embroidered, yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
All right, that's probably enough. The people that are here for the news.
There's more stuff in the box, but I'm not going to
We got mugs and just check it out. It's fine.
Yeah, and mouse pads. Mouse pads should be here soon too, as well. And hopefully we'll reorder Teaching Sand to Think, which a lot of people have mentioned that we're sold out on.
6 minutes. We do from time to time. We get a comment from somebody that's being like, "I don't want all this garbage soda crap. I'm here for something else." But I think we get more comments who people are just like, at this point, I'm only here for the soda.
Yeah, so it's kind of a mixed bag. You can always skip over it.
Engagement challenge.
We do give you those handy little links in the description. You can skip any topic that you don't like.
Yes.
For example, if you don't want to get hyped about new hardware, you can skip right past this story. Even though I think a lot of people are going to be into this, although I think the pricing, maybe this is a chip shortage pricing situation.
Yeah, it's a little high.
It's a little steep.
Valve launches Steam Deck, a $400 PC gaming portable. Although, you'll probably want one of the more expensive models to get a better SSD and a screen upgrade. It's 1280 by 720. It's got a lot of features. It's an APU. Early specs reported that this was an RDNA 2 APU, but I suspect that is probably incorrect, but maybe not. I don't know.
So it says $400. That's the very base model. The one that has any kind of storage is like $600.
Yeah.
Now you can SD card expand these, but if you're pulling game assets off of that, although I think this does the streaming thing, right?
Yeah. You stream from your gaming computer.
Can you install locally? Is that an option, or do you have to stream? I wasn't sure about that.
I wasn't sure either when I looked at the website.
It runs SteamOS, and it's a quad-core CPU, so the CPU does have some horsepower. I gotta think that they've got a plan for that.
Gabe has also said he expects to have all Steam Windows games running in this OS eventually.
Nice.
That'd be impressive.
He doesn't want anything left out.
The screenshot in this article is a picture of the guy playing, what is that, Factorio?
I think it is.
It might not be Factorio.
It might not be, I don't know. The map's in the wrong place.
I could be into playing like Prison Architect on that kind of device.
Or Factorio, or Monster Train, or SNKRX.
I don't know. I think that double inventory down there might be Factorio. Anyway, You can already play a bunch of these games on there. Anything you could play on their other thing that they had, the OS. But he's going to add more.
I think he would have sold more if this had come out in early 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not till
Sure.
December 2021 is when you can start ordering them.
Also, is mobile a strong platform right now if everybody's just at home?
Well, everybody was expecting the Nintendo Switch Pro, and Nintendo disappointed. Well, there it is.
Yeah. This is a competitor for the Switch, I
That's
think, for
nothing
sure.
like the Switch Pro. That's although I think they did maybe follow Nintendo's cue on the pricing, or maybe Apple's cue,
Yeah,
because that storage adds an insane amount of money
it really
Yeah.
does.
to go for the big NVMe. But let's say that you don't have any kind of hardware. You've got just the most garbage hardware in the world, but you desperately, desperately need to do something. You got to get a job. Well, maybe Microsoft has a solution for you.
Microsoft puts PCs in the cloud with Windows 365. Windows 365 is a new service that creates cloud PCs. It's basically just terminal services and Azure Active Directory in the browser. This isn't really anything new. They're just marketing it differently. But I think Microsoft really, really missed the boat here because the Windows 11 hardware requirements were so insane. For anybody who can't run Windows 11 on modern hardware, they should just turn it into a thin client with this. It's like, oh, you've got a garbage Core 2 Duo from 2003? Well, you can't run Windows 11 on that, but you can run Windows 365.
So that'll run in a browser, or you can connect directly with RDP, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Better way to use it, maybe.
But you need a Windows 11 PC to have the proper RDP client because Microsoft didn't think that through.
Let me buy a much nicer car to drive to my crappy car.
Yeah.
Well, you think that the GPUs are coming back, but Miss Sue, Dr. Sue, disagrees.
She says that chip shortages will continue through 2021, but she does say that they're bringing on more capacity every quarter, and so the shortages will ease. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with GPUs, is like they're still not in stock, but they're coming in stock more often and for longer.
Although, if they're smart, and I think that she probably is smart, she is not adding back capacity as fast as she could.
Yes.
Because she's afraid of a coming cliff.
Yeah, because that has happened to AMD like 4 or 5 times. They really took a bath on APUs one year.
So, can understand them being hesitant, but also want chips. What do you do? Have you ever done Keymaster?
Yeah, it's actually kind of a lot of fun.
I've never seen Keymaster. I'm not interested in those kinds of games, I guess. But
I want a pair of headphones off one, but now I feel cheated.
this is kind of like the claw game. It's all about timing. You know, you're going to line up an X and a Y, right? Is that how it works? And it's these, arcade machines. And we've known for years that the claw doesn't grip all the way every time.
Right.
That seems to be common knowledge. But apparently some people not aware of it and angry.
Sega sued for rigged arcade machine. The Keymaster game has been a target for years. So in the manual, it says, hey, you literally can't win unless we've collected a certain amount of money. So there's no risk in it for you. And the marketing for the game says it's purely a game of chance and skill. Purely a game of skill, not chance. And so their argument is, well, if it's a game of skill, okay, but if it's a game of chance, then you have to market it differently under the law.
Is this the one where it's like the Tower of Lights and you have to watch it go back and forth?
No, it's the one where there's like an arm and there's just little holes, and you have to line the thing up, and then the thing goes through the hole to push a button to give you the whatever.
Oh, okay.
And what they're saying is, even if you get it perfectly, if it's not one of the winning, like the pre-configured winning runs, it'll just move it slightly.
Yeah.
Before it.
My cousin got one of the light ones removed from a Walmart. He was working at Walmart and he would play it on his break, and he got so good at it, he was getting prizes like every day.
Well, maybe that game is the one you want to play, not this one.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. He was pretty good at it. He won a lot.
Well, the thing about these Master Key games that they pointed out, the prizes are no longer, stuffed animals. They're putting like iPads and stuff in there.
Yeah, he got like headphones and stuff out of it.
My favorite one is the local Chinese buffet. They have a 40-ounce bag of Skittles in it. There is no chance that claw can lift a 40-ounce bag of Skittles.
There's no chance those Skittles probably even taste good anymore. They're probably kind of stale.
I would love to see it rip into them and just dump them all inside. And then somebody plays it and gets one Skittle. Like the claw perfectly gets one Skittle.
Yes.
My family can eat this week.
They're cutting it up. Well, we got some new features coming from Apple into their iPad line. And I assume that Krista added this story because I didn't.
I added it, yeah. Well, because this threw me off. So I don't update my iPad probably as quickly as I should. And so this came out like maybe 2 weeks ago. And I updated it this week. And I was like, every time I would go to like search for something, it was doing something weird. I was like, what the hell is going on? It's trying to like let me write. You can actually write on your iPad and it will autofill like form fields now.
I just noticed this is June 22nd.
Yeah, it's like almost a month old now.
iPad OS 14 will turn your handwriting into typed text.
It's actually kind of cool, but also a little bit annoying because I didn't expect it.
Enjoy your timely news on the Level 1 news.
What would you say the success rate is with it in your tests?
Pretty good. It was actually really good. The only thing that it doesn't seem to understand how to do well is like mimicking the case that you're writing. So like at one point I was trying to write all caps and it was like, no, I don't understand that. I'm going to put it in normal case. So.
Well, Krista, one thing that I know about your iPad is that it is one of the garbage Intel iPads. And you might as well, older. You need to just throw it away. I mean, obviously, you've had it for what, 3-4 years at this point?
I know, ancient.
Not Intel, but pre-M1.
It's getting long in the tooth. Oh, who made those chips?
Technically Apple. They're just older.
Well, x86.
No, it's not x86.
What is it?
It's ARM. It's just older ARM.
Oh, I didn't know they did ARM on those versions. But anyway, it's old, and you need a new one. And you might be saying, well, I can't quite afford a new one right now. And they're saying that is not an excuse.
Apple and Goldman Sachs plan a buy now, pay later service to rival Affirm. We've covered this before, but now it's like really ramping up because Goldman Sachs and Apple have this deal where Goldman Sachs knows what the margin is in those products, and so it's not really a financial risk for either one of them to sell you a vastly inflated price, of like an iPad or whatever, because it's like, oh, we're going to sell you a $1,000 iPad. Those companies are only like $200 on the hook, and they own your debt. It's like your soul.
And when you default, they'll take it back, refurb it, sell it, and make that money again.
This is just QVC with extra steps.
So, wouldn't recommend it. I don't know what the APR is, but I bet it's high.
Yeah, just save for a few months. And then
so they have paid off in 4 weeks option. Like a weekly debt seems so much more crushing than a monthly debt.
Yeah.
So much less time to get ahead of that. And then they have the traditional monthly payment one. Don't do either.
Just save for a little bit.
Don't finance your technology. Go to a pawn shop and get something from there that's like $200.
Or just save your money.
Yeah.
Till you can afford it. We all know about the new version of iOS blocking the old tracking IDs. It's been in the news a lot. Now it's been going on for like 3-4 weeks now, maybe a month.
Yeah.
And we have more information about how it's actually changing the world.
There's about 3 or 4 versions of this story this week. Apple's app tracking transparency framework causes advertisers to spend more money targeting Android users. That's a lot of words to say advertisers aren't buying ads for iOS applications anymore because they're seeing a big dip in their analytics numbers and being able to sort of track an individual, and it's basically gone dark. Like they're buying the ads, but they're not seeing where the traffic goes, so they've cut ad spending on Apple's platform. And how much has it dropped? Well, they're obviously not going to tell us. They're never going to release those numbers, but we have speculation. Brian Bowman says that Apple's IDFA change has triggered 15 to 20% revenue drops for iOS developers. It's non-trivial, although still less than the amount that Apple takes. Yeah. So, obviously, it did pretty much what everybody said it was going to do, just destroyed business models. How cool would it have been if Apple had said, we're going to do this, we're projecting it's going to be a 15% drop in revenues, we're going to cut our cut from 30% to 15%. That's assuming they have any kind of heart or soul or like care about anybody at all. I'm just going by what the company's like. It's public messaging. It's like we value users and we value privacy and blah blah blah. But they're not willing to put their money where their mouth is. Literally. I would phrase that slightly differently, and that is they're not willing to alienate all of their shareholders. This has been a headline that in the past has belonged to exactly one company,
We see them all the time, and I know. Internal combustion, it happens more often. No one's arguing that. But a lot of people were like, hey, that company's just really bad. Maybe not. Maybe they're not so bad. Maybe it's just a really hard problem to solve.
General Motors tells Chevy Bolt owners to park outside because the batteries could catch fire.
This could be in the nonsense section. Like, what a strange thing to have to tell people.
This isn't the first time that this has happened either. They're going to try to fix it, but yeah.
But this was after a warranty repair.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they were fixing something. Were they fixing the batteries, or was it something?
I thought they were fixing the batteries because I thought that there was some other kind of issue like this they couldn't fix over the air, so bring it in. But until then, park outside, because it seems like we reported that. Maybe that wasn't on the Bolt.
No, they didn't know about the parking outside until a couple of them burst into flame. So they thought they had solved it.
Whoops.
They had not.
How long before it's you got to have some sort of insane fire suppression system in your garage if it's an attached garage to your house?
Just you have a pool and you drive the car into the pool.
Water cooled.
And then you have to swim your way out.
And you have an airlock that comes out like the space station and attaches to the door.
That would solve a lot of problems. It creates a lot more problems.
Yes, it'd be wildly expensive.
But then you get lazy about filling up the reservoir one day. We last week we learned about dream advertising. What a terrible, terrible world we are heading toward.
And VR advertising.
But that was not the beginning of the terrible headlines when it comes to brain interfacing. Facebook was at the forefront of that. But maybe this is some good news.
Facebook is ditching plans to make an interface that reads the brain. The company's research into a consumer mind-reading device is over for now. Some scientists say that it was never possible anyway.
I think they didn't do it for moral reasons. I think they probably failed, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're moving on to another device that straps to your wrist and predicts.
Remember the
stuff.
thing where it's like it straps up here and down there and it can read your that thing.
So the you thinking about making those motions does something that they can pick up on, even if you got no hands. It's incredible. Not as incredible as mind reading though.
Yeah.
You've got to have the invasive brain probes. Need Elon Musk for that.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd get on board.
He has.
Yeah, he's doing that Neuralink or whatever.
With monkeys.
Oh yeah, right.
They're not unhappy.
I don't know that
I
we
wouldn't
can prove
describe them
that.
as happy either.
Well, the space race, the 2021 space race, I guess, is officially over. We'll cover that story later. But there's still big things happening with rocketry and getting into space. There's a lot of big numbers moving around, and who can establish that space powerhouse first?
Amazon has acquired Facebook's satellite internet team because Facebook was going to be an ISP, and then people looked around at how that went in India, being a VPN provider with unlimited data, and now it's going to be Amazon, who's probably quietly going to do the same thing.
Remember the African thing they wanted to do?
Oh, yeah.
And Africa was just like, I don't know if we trust you with that.
No thanks.
But then they turned around and went to China, so. Right. But that'll be interesting. I wonder, do you think that Amazon would undercut Starlink because they can? They can certainly afford to lose money on that.
That'll be interesting. If they do lose money, then they'll probably raise it that is like an FTC complaint or something.
Or they'll give you a really nice discount on your monthly satellite internet if you're a Prime customer.
Yeah.
They got that wild card to play.
But if you're someone who lives kind of remotely, who needs satellite internet, would you be on like the delivery path anyway? Would Amazon care about you?
It might also be nice to have both and then have multi-path TCP so that, when one is weird and flaky, the other one's still working.
Well, they're a little pricey.
Yeah, to do both.
One thing about Starlink that Musk has pledged, I don't know if I trust that. I think that changes the moment it becomes a problem. But he said no caps.
Yeah.
You get what you get, which is different from literally every other ISP in the world.
Yeah. AT&T will let unlimited data customers pay more to avoid the slow lane. It's like, well, unlimited, we've got some varying definitions here. So unlimited means you get a big bucket at first to scoop up your data, and then once you've used so much, you get a very small bucket. And you can use as much unlimited data as you can possibly get in that bucket, but after you've carried a thimble-sized bucket to and from the data well all day. You're going to be real tired. You're not going to want to
Wouldn't
do
that
that.
mean that it's limited though?
I would say that's more of a teaspoon. Yeah, of course, that is the argument.
Yeah. Wouldn't that mean it's limited?
Is that not inherently a limit? Are we arguing the word limit here?
Yes, because American advertising is so screwed up.
Also, I said the world, and I realized that a lot of the rest of the world doesn't have data caps, so don't correct me on that.
Too late. Someone's already writing a comment.
I know.
They didn't even wait.
Probably didn't save anything there.
Oh, it was updated. I wonder what the update was.
We'll read the headline and we'll scroll down.
I think it's that he's giving up.
Oh.
So we talked yesterday about like saving videos and how obviously the politicians don't understand the whole idea of like downloading video and how that works. Well, this is another perfect example of that idea.
Reddit orders Save Video bot to shut down or face a lawsuit. Use/Save Video was a Reddit video downloader bot that helped users download and save videos from Reddit. But Reddit said stop doing that.
So really, it's just, I don't know what they use. Maybe, I guess they use YouTube DL and then just give you a download point for it. Not sure exactly how it works, but obviously the video is already there. It's available because you've watched it. You just want to save it to a file.
If you're in France, this should be completely okay, apparently. Based on our earlier stuff from earlier in the week.
They point out that this user had been banned before and then came back after a couple of days and was like, oh, it was all a misunderstanding. I don't think it's a misunderstanding this time.
Yeah.
Now, we talk about the crazy relationship between corporate and government. My God, is this an example of it?
This is strange. Yeah, I
And-
thought I misread this at first.
This seems like the less awful version compared to what we have in America.
And this just goes to show you how much power these chip fabricators have with the Chinese government. You know how Apple and Facebook and Google do whatever the Chinese government says? These guys have more pull.
Foxconn and TSMC strike a deal to buy 10 million vaccines for Taiwan for the thing. And this is because the Taiwanese government was in negotiations to buy from, was it a Shenzhen supplier? It was to buy the vaccines. But because, Taiwan and Shenzhen and the whole,
Them wanting to be a country,
Yeah.
being uppity.
the Chinese government said, no, that's not allowed. So TSMC and Foxconn were able to buy it in order to give to Taiwanese citizens, which is good, I guess.
If Taiwan is part of China, as China claims, wouldn't they want to give those vaccines to their citizens?
No, I think they want to kill all of those citizens and take the infrastructure for their citizens.
The article does say that China was like, hey, we'll, if you go through us, we'll arrange for your thing. But is that like the fruit of a poison tree?
Yeah.
Just fill out these informational cards for us, please. Be sure to put your DNA on
I can
there.
understand why they maybe wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, you can definitely understand that. Or just take a quick little boat trip over here to the mainland. We'll take care of you. We got these nice camps that we built for you. Well, this was probably 2017 when the big blockchain craze, everybody was calling themselves blockchain.
The wheels of justice barely turn.
And I remember this story because so many companies pulled this crap.
Yeah.
They just changed their name. And sometimes the investors would accidentally target the wrong company.
Yep.
And blow up a little penny stock. But that's not what happened here. These guys knew exactly what they were doing in hindsight.
Insider trading charges filed over Long Island Iced Tea's blockchain pivot. So there was some internal communications, which was basically, I don't understand why all these companies are doing so well. They've just added blockchain to their name, and that's all they're doing. And then internally they said, hey, why don't we do that? And they did that. And then their stock shot up 1,000%. And they made some insider trades. And that's what got them in trouble.
Well, they didn't just do that. They kind of went to some trouble to try to hide the communications. Where they're like, hey, by the way, we're doing this on Monday. And they pointed out this one guy bought 35,000 shares, made $160,000 in a day. Which is not a bad. He felt pretty good about that for about 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah.
Now he's not feeling so good. I assume. I don't know. Maybe. The, what do we call it? The Great Reset, right? The Great Reset is where the government takes over everything in our lives. And we don't have to worry about anything. And we're finally happy because all these terrible decisions have been lifted from our poor shoulders. And it seems like Gizmodo, by the headline, is getting into it, but they do sort of rescue themselves in the article.
In 2030, you won't own any gadgets.
What a great stock photo, by the way. Whoever did the artwork for this, great job.
You can't have a fridge. You can't have a dishwasher. You can't have a stove. Your subscription has expired. As somebody who, not super long time ago bought an LG refrigerator, they're real aggressive wanting to sell you a water filter subscription. Real aggressive.
A water filter subscription?
Yeah, because it's got a chip in it and it expires whether you use it or not. And they're like, hey, you should just go ahead and buy like 5 or 6 of these a year and you can subscribe on this plan and it'll cost like half what you'll pay in the store or on Amazon if you just get the water filters from us.
My air fryer beeps angrily, randomly at me. And I'm always like, why are you beeping at me? I stopped using you like 30 minutes ago. And I finally, after some Googling, figured out it's complaining because it can't get to the Wi-Fi.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The fridge also wants me to download an app it beeps every so often and it's like, I have important things to tell you. And in the manual, it's like, oh, you should download the app to connect to the fridge to see what it's trying to tell you. And it's like, I didn't buy the smart fridge to just get an app. This is not happening. We
purposely bought all dumb appliances, like industrial dumb appliances, so that way we wouldn't have to deal with that.
So you're saying it has the screen?
No, it doesn't have the screen.
Oh, okay.
I think it's trying to tell me that there's something up with the water filter because I got the Chinese clone water filter that doesn't expire, and which is a wrapper for like the cheap water filters, and I think it's trying to tell me that it knows that the it's trying to warn me that the water filter might be communist or something.
Your water's got like
it's posting extremist content.
A little bit of a red tint. I don't know what this is.
Well, it tastes delicious.
Well, you guys, I know one thing I know about you two. Mm-hmm. You were locked to your screens watching this soccer championship.
Yes, I love the sport. I did know it was Italy. Italy won.
You know what I've learned about soccer that I did not previously understand is that it's not just like one big competition, right? There's leagues.
Yeah.
So we've only settled the Euro championship, right?
Probably.
But now we still got
engagement challenge.
We got the World Cup, which is different, I think.
That's pretty much just a fight between like South America and Europe, right? Like those are probably the teams that invest the most in their teams.
Well, I don't think South America is in the Euro Cup.
No, I said the World Cup. You said you were talking about the World Cup.
Yeah, well, but that's different. So this was not as big as I thought it was, but I guess I really don't understand. I know that it was a big cultural event. And when the UK lost, it was a real heartbreaker. And as you know, UK has some passionate sports fans. They might take things a little too far.
UK to ban online racists from games after the 2020 uproar. So they're not banning racist people from online, they're banning people that post racist things on social media about players. There were some players that missed some goals and some people posted some really offensive stuff. So I guess the UK wants to track that and put you on a list to be like, no, you had a terrible attitude. You're not allowed to come watch the match.
I think the guy that missed the saving goal for UK was a person of color.
Aww.
Yeah. And he got a lot of abuse after that.
Poor guy.
They love to get involved with their sports over there.
I think that's true in the U.S. as well.
No, but they do it to the point of like, forming gangs and fighting and stabbing and stuff like that.
I think that's still a thing here. People burn couches and crap for college basketball.
Certainly Philadelphia probably give them a run for their money. Maybe Detroit. But, you said you're not going to ban them from online. I guarantee once they identify them, all the social services will drop them.
Twitter has blocked you for being an awful person. What?
That's definitely coming. And over at Facebook, they probably already know who all those people are.
Yep.
Because boy, do they have a lot of data. But here's the problem, and this is a big problem for them. A lot of those people who are the biggest problem online are the biggest consumers of Facebook.
Inside Facebook's data wars, the New York Times reports that executives at the social network have clashed over CrowdTangle, a Facebook-owned data tool that revealed users' high engagement levels with right-wing media sources. It's like the meme. Are we the baddies?
It's like, well, this can't be true. It seems like they're interested in the thing that we don't want. What are we going to do about this? So there's two camps. There's the camp that says we keep making bundles of money, and the camp says no, it's all about the narrative.
There's the truth. Yeah, it basically is that. There's probably room to have a happy medium, but there's also, like your grandma posting really just horribly offensive things gets a lot of traffic. And that's the kind of thing that shows up in this report.
Well, everybody knows that grandma has the best racist posts.
Yeah, I mean...
She's known worldwide for
it. There's not... The thing that leaves out is there's not sentiment analysis. Is everybody looking at that to be like, oh, grandma's from a different time? Or are people looking at it and saying... Yeah, maybe we should bring back some of the things. Grandma's time was better. And it's like, one of those things is dangerous. The other one, not so much.
I think we disagree on which one is dangerous.
Well, some of the, I'm thinking of like like the lawn cross burnings and things like that. I think we would agree that that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, I think we can move past that. Let's not go back to that time.
Are we doing that?
Yeah,
that's on Facebook.
Those get a lot of posts, a lot of things on Facebook, where it's just like, yeah, that's things were better then, and it's like, were they?
In some ways, in others, definitely not.
Yeah.
Did you ever fleet?
No, never did.
Not even once.
Not even once.
Wow. You've missed your opportunity.
Your chance to fleet.
I think it's because they wanted you to use the app, and I usually will not use the app.
Oh, you can't web fleet?
Usually not. Did you install it for a while?
Interesting. Well, it's too late.
Yep. Twitter is shutting down fleets. That's expiring tweets feature. It said, I love the sub.
The sub headline.
Eat the fleets. Something else is coming, though, they said.
Are we at the point where yeet is no longer cool?
Yeah, I think so. Now it's sheesh.
I can't get into that.
That's from TikTok, and that means that something's cool. Like sheesh, that's cool.
That reminds me of the Budweiser commercial, the What's Up commercial. What's up?
Yeah, it is kind of that same sort of thing.
But that became old like the next day.
Yes.
I feel like sheesh is getting there, and it'll be a new meme soon for TikTok.
I like to yeet.
Is that guy's desk set up on a staircase? Because that's what it looks like.
No, I think it's just another desk behind
painting.
him. It's because the wall, see the cuts in the wall are distorting your perception of it.
Oh, okay.
This is something that I got to tell you, I'm starting to think about this.
Oh, yeah. No, we were already there.
We were entering into this dangerous demographic, especially in this business. There's a bit of a timer. Not quite as bad as young MTV hosts. Does MTV still have hosts?
I would say just modeling in general. Yeah. Instagram.
Oh yeah, Instagram influencer. Yeah, that one's got a hell of a fuse
timer.
on it.
Yeah,
I would say that some of the things that I've experienced is not the younger thing; it's the wisdom thing. I'll explain that in a second.
But I think the big problem here isn't how well you do your job; it's how much money you'll take to do your job.
Yeah. Older job seekers on LinkedIn get fewer job offers, but a younger profile photo helps. So there's some things that happen as you get older. One of those things is you've seen some stuff. And, when somebody comes to you and is like, I have this amazing idea. We're going to build Facebook, but it's only going to be for Olympic skiers. Only Olympic skiers are invited. And when you're young, it's like, hey, you got money, whatever, I don't care. But when you're older, it's like, let me tell you a bunch of reasons why that won't work, and it's a waste of my time.
You think we can get away with this?
Also, older people ask for more money. So.
It's PG-13, right?
Let's not
tempt the algorithm.
Yeah.
I guess the headline by itself is
pretty graphic.
Well, let's just say, go over to Instagram and look up Metaphysical Megan if you'd like to see what we're looking at here. And it does look refreshing, I guess. But in terms of dangerous social media trends, this one's kind of low.
Yeah,
don't you think?
This doesn't seem unsafe at all.
Somewhat harmless.
Yeah. Health trend butthole sunning gaining followers on Instagram. Yeah, the kooky practice of sunning down there is gaining traction with yet another wellness Instagrammer gaining notoriety after posts touting its health benefits.
What are the health benefits according to this influencer?
Well, obviously,
you don't have to have a cup of coffee in the morning to wake up. You just do that, and then you've got energy all day long.
I don't think that's true.
Obviously, vitamin D, right? Because especially with the pandemic.
There's a lot of good pictures in this article, so if you want, check it out in the one tab. But
is it? Can we do a controlled experiment where maybe it's just
I feel like this is a good way to get skin cancer. You got to slather yourself in sunscreen like you're Mark Zuckerberg every day.
That's a tougher spot to slather. So yeah, but what they're saying is obviously vitamin D is good. We need more vitamin D because that protects against the thing, right?
Yeah.
And they're saying, oh, get out and get your 20 minutes. But these people are saying, no, and they point out, let me see if I can find the quote real quick. It has to do with energy entering and leaving the body through that area.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true either.
Well, they claim that it is, and I don't think that you've ever tested it. 30 seconds of sunlight on your butthole. You will receive more energy.
Good reporting.
From this electric node, than you would an entire day of being outside with your clothes on. Yeah, I don't think that's true. Oh, here it is. In Taoism, the perineum, which is the taint, or Huiyin, is called the gate of life and death. This is a gateway where energy enters and exits the body. Mostly just an exit for me.
Yeah, I don't think so, dude. I feel like this is a 4chan green text gone wrong. Like someone was on a board on 4chan was like, you know what we should get people to do?
I think a lot of it actually is pretty girls looking for a good excuse to post nudes.
Yeah.
Without seeming like they're just posting nudes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dudes, though, in those articles. I mean, there's girls, too, but...
listen, there's an audience for that, Krista.
It's strange. That should have been a nonsense.
What do we got for Friday?
We have one design story Friday.
Robot design nonsense.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you Friday.
Man, you haven't even broken into the focus yet. I feel like you have not gone hard on the...
It's rich. It's very rich.
Just like this week's news.
More of a sipper then. You know what? You didn't give us the activity or location where this should be properly consumed.
This is best consumed just after sunset on your front porch on a cool autumn evening with a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Ooh.
Oh, so now are you eating the ice cream independently and just sipping on that, or are you doing like a float type of deal?
Either one could work. It just depends on the mood that you're in. I think today my mood would be to sip it independently. But
depends on how late into the autumn that you are.
Yeah.
I can't wait for fall. It's too hot.
If it's a hotter day, I definitely would go for the float.
Well, there you go, chat. Perfect way to enjoy it alongside Wendell.
All right. Bye. Hello, everybody. It is July 23rd, and it is a Friday, so we're doing design and nonsense. And I immediately forgot AI. So it's a fun category today. Fun episode.
Robot, Krista.
Oh.
And I've
Robot AI.
very slightly modified the robot category. From now on, it's going to be robot/space.
We do have a lot of space stories.
Well, AI is doing some really impressive things when it comes to fakery. Of course, deepfakes, we're all aware of them, but it's not just video now. They're getting into the voices.
An AI model of Anthony Bourdain's voice says lines that he never uttered in a new documentary. Somebody sent an email and was like, hey, how did you do this? And they said, well, for this, we just spliced it together. I saw that somebody do that with one of the CNN news anchors to some rap song, and it was amazing.
But that's
Brian Williams.
But they couldn't do that here because he had never said some of these things.
Yeah.
They had to synthesize it.
And they said, well, we'll save that for the ethics committee debate. We did it. It's fine.
He did write the letter that they're reading from.
Yeah.
So he did write those words.
He just never said them.
Never spoke them. And it gets into a whole ethics thing, right?
Yeah.
Feels a little weird.
Feels a little weird.
I mean, we've been doing that with Tupac for a long time. We didn't necessarily like make him say things, but slowing it down and stretching it out. They've done a lot with his recordings that he never.
When we all die, will someone make that for the Level 1 news?
No. Oh, they already have.
We're nowhere near the popularity of Tupac, Krista.
My voice, when I'm dead, my voice will die with me.
We're nowhere near the popularity of Tupac, and yet a 12-year-old trolling us is able to do it no problem.
Scrub myself off the internet, off the face of the planet. Never going to be here again.
Oh, the
Enjoy
Euros want to create a world where you can do that. Sounds a little Ministry of Truth to me.
He never existed. What are you talking about?
My favorite thing about the Tupac recordings is that almost all the stuff that you get after his death was the stuff that was just unapologetically about killing cops. Because they couldn't release that when he was alive. But they waited like 10 years and it was like, nobody's paying attention now. And there's not.
What an exciting time.
Yeah. We have read a lot about Pepper. Pepper worked in the funeral parlors. Pepper worked in the monasteries. Remember that?
In Din Tai Fung, in the bottom of the Taipei 101, and helped me with getting some reservations for there.
And Pepper has worked in restaurants, although not as a server, just as a greeter. But what we're learning now seems to be that maybe Pepper needs an update. Because Pepper doesn't have a gender, right?
No, I don't think so.
Zur is making some mistakes.
Humanoid robot keeps getting fired from his
they gendered
jobs.
it. Okay.
Pepper, SoftBank's robot, malfunctioned during scripture readings, took breaks in exercise class, and couldn't recognize the faces of family members. So it's not a terribly expensive robot. It's like $2,000-ish US.
But wouldn't you expect it to do all those things for $2,000?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like just reading from scripture, and it's like, I don't feel like doing this anymore.
I like that took breaks during exercise class. Like, imagine he just pulls out a cigarette, and that like wide-eyed look goes away, and he's just like.
But it's got to be an e-cigarette, right?
Yeah.
So the article says that, well, if it looks intelligent, or if it looks like a person, you'd expect it to be intelligent, and it's like, I don't know if that's true, but okay.
Nah, it's kind of a crappy robot. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, how much better is Spot than that thing? Spot can't talk to you, but
Or I'll say Flippy. Flippy's OG.
it's certainly more utilitarian. Now, we've heard this guy's story before, but I remember when we talked about this originally, it was kind of like, it did not get the response that it probably deserved because everybody just kind of wanted to gloss over it. But now he has gotten his day to at least talk about what happened to him to lawmakers.
Man wrongfully arrested by facial recognition tells Congress his story. Robert Williams was arrested last year in Detroit after a facial recognition mishap. And he says, the Detroit police came to my other city that's not even Detroit, and, it was really just pretext. They didn't even really do any proper police work. They just randomly arrested me. It was pretty scathing stuff from this guy, and nothing really inaccurate in it.
Yeah, he certainly was wronged.
Yeah.
And it could have been avoided easily.
And it wasn't the only time the Detroit Police Department managed to screw up in precisely exactly the same way.
And I don't think they've necessarily stopped doing it entirely.
No.
And how many people are currently in jail right now because of this same system?
So, will the lawmakers pay heed to that? Probably not.
Probably not, no.
We can dream.
How much are you willing to pay us to pay attention to this? And he's like, wait, pay you?
I don't have any money. I think he did get a settlement, didn't he?
I don't know.
Probably not as much as he deserves, though. Well, one thing we're finding out about these new robots that are coming out is that everybody has pretty much just stolen the Spot design.
Yeah.
They'll make them a little bigger, a little smaller, different features, but when you get right down to it, basically the quadruped dog. Everybody's doing it. This one does have an interesting new feature.
Stumble-proof robot adapts to challenging terrain in real time. So
I don't do that well.
yeah, it's like when you're walking around on big rocks or little rocks or gravel or dirt or whatever, you change the way that you walk. You do it subconsciously. You don't even realize you're doing it. And now the dog does that explicitly because the programmer decided it so.
But, and this is cover your ears, Mr. Musk, no cameras involved here. They do not, they ignore everything about the visual feedback. It's all about the expectation of what the body is going to do and the reality of what the body is doing. And they compare those two, and when they find differences, they adjust. Just like we do. So they give the example of walking in sand, for example. You expect your foot to stop, and it doesn't. What does that mean? It means you got to shift your leg a little bit. That's a lot of processing power, though.
The 4 legs might make that easier than if it was just 2 as well.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Because when I go backpacking, I always have like the hiking sticks, and when you're going on like a descent or something, that makes it a lot easier.
Do you just use regular sticks, or do you have...
No, I've got poles, like actual hiking poles.
Isn't that annoying to carry around?
No, I use them a lot. Like, especially if you're going uphill and downhill, they're just helpful. Because my poor knees, I'm getting older. And when you got a big heavy pack on your back.
Are we taking a mid-show break for a new orange soda? Actually,
yeah.
let's get to the design section. No, not yet.
Yeah, you can compare it to the taste.
This is the last AI/space story.
Okay.
So this is the end of, and this is the end of the 2021 space race. It's over, and the winner is
Richard Branson and Virgin Galactic complete a successful space flight.
Isn't it just the edge of space?
Yeah, but he beat Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos.
It was
when Jeff Bezos gave up his CEO position. I wonder if he was table flippingly mad. It's like, no, I was supposed to be the first person to the edge of
Punches
space.
a wall.
He tweeted a very congratulatory tweet, but like you say, I think it might have been
Through
tense
gritted
knuckles.
teeth. Yeah.
I gave up the CEO position because the shareholders didn't want me taking unnecessary risk, and it's just like, and he's like, "Woo, welcome to space."
Look at those seats. Those are nice gaming seats, aren't they? So you are correct, Krista. It was 50 miles. Now, I think that is beyond that. What's the name of that line where it's like,
I forget.
you're officially in space? Isn't that 40-some miles? But they got a 3-minute weightlessness and then an immediate descent. You know what's interesting about the vomit comment, and it makes perfect sense, but I've never thought about it before. On the ups, it's 2 times gravity.
Yeah.
So they're all just pinned to the floor while it goes back up. And then you get, is it 30 seconds, I think?
Because it's just free fall.
30 seconds of weightlessness.
Yeah.
And then you're pinned to the floor again. And you have to be very careful what you're doing at the end of that 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because double your body weight can be a big surprise. So congratulations, Mr. Branson.
The American people hate you and all the billionaires who are currently running the space races.
Also, interesting, 2 different business models here. If you want to go to space with Amazon, $28 million. You want to go to space with Richard Branson, $250,000.
That guy backed out. The 28 million guy backed out.
All right, the new guy is 18.
Yeah, the guy was, I think they said he was private, and when he realized he was going to get a ton of press for going to space with Jeff Bezos, he was like, I'm out.
Oh, the headline I saw just said he was too busy. It's like, I got something else to do that week.
Oh, I forgot. I have a meeting.
I can wait a year and it's only going to be $250,000. I should save my tens of millions of dollars.
I got a lot of weeding to do that weekend.
Sorry.
Level 1 financial advice. Wait a year and then give us a couple $1 million for advising you to wait a year.
Nah, don't be greedy. We'll take $250,000. Well, our loan design story, I was not aware of this. Are these in the stores yet? Can we see these already? Or is
I
this
don't
coming soon?
think they are. They just announced them this week.
It is mild. I suppose if you are... Oh, all right, that's a good question for you, Krista. If Coke was like, all right, we're bringing you in, you're the new designer, do you boldly try to change things, or do you understand that this is an institution?
No, it's an institution. You don't change it. That's true of any large company. You never make massive changes because people get very angry about it, which is strange.
So do you think this is within that window?
Yeah, it's pretty mild. I think it's maybe not the best, but we'll read the headline. Coca-Cola unveils a bold and minimal new redesign. So this is for Diet Coke. Can you guess which one? Or not Diet, it's Coke Zero. And Coke Zero is the one with the black text on red. It's not dramatically different from their other cans. I personally would have gone with a black can because right now I don't think it's different enough visually from the other two. And I think it would be easy to confuse the flavors if you're not sure.
Here's the best thing about these. This is subtle. So if you look at the Diet can, the middle can, it's got a refreshing taste, no calories, and no sugar. Whereas the original has delicious and refreshing, but apparently Coke Zero, neither delicious nor refreshing.
Just no calories.
The marketing lady for Coke said that the reason that they switched it so it's a red can is because they want people to mentally think about it as just as good as regular Coke. I think they're trying to go with the health trend where it's like Coke Zero is just as good and you can still drink Coke without all the sugar and health detriment.
It's currently red text on black can, right?
Yes.
For the other one? Interesting.
See, I would have kept the dark can because then it quickly, when you're trying to pick out a package in the store, you don't want to sit there and read the text to figure out what you're getting. You just want to grab the box.
Do they want me to accidentally pick that one up and then be like, oh, you know what? This isn't terrible.
That might be what their strategy is. I think they also slightly tweaked the Coke Zero flavor.
It's funny because they kept the same Diet Coke can color.
Yeah.
So it's like they made the one choice with Diet Coke, but the opposite choice with Coke Zero.
Yeah,
Also,
I'm not sure why that is. It doesn't make sense to me.
Isn't it interesting that silver and gold have always been the diet colors?
Yeah.
Pepsi does it too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you think there's a psychological thing there they've figured out?
Well, if there wasn't, there is now.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, maybe it's like they're trying to make it seem like a premium product. I don't know. Silver kind of connotates second place, but gold doesn't. Gold's usually caffeine free, I think.
Interesting. I bet there's a whole internal chart for all of these things, isn't there?
Yeah, they didn't go into that in the article. They just mentioned that they want people to mentally think about it as Coke Zero is just as good as regular Coke.
Were we waiting until the end of design?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, try your soda.
It.
Speaking of. Focus. I think you've already tried this one, but
Pretty sure.
Focus with a pH.
yeah.
Yeah, this is not carbonated at all. It's good. This would be a good search.
So you've had this before?
I think so.
We got to keep track of that better.
We need to make like a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet.
This is a blood orange. I don't know if maybe I didn't have the blood orange version. Pretty sure that I did.
You had something blood orange, right?
Yeah, it's naturally energizing sparkling water. Natural energy.
Give us the calorie and sugar count.
0 calories.
Okay.
1 serving per container. And 0 everything in the nutrition column. 0%. 0 fat, 0 sodium, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 extra sugar, 0 protein. Ingredients.
So what's the sweetener?
Reverse osmosis sparkling water.
Delicious.
Oh, that's good. Natural blood orange flavor.
Okay.
It tastes like blood orange rind, if I'm honest.
That's not good.
Bitter, yeah.
It's pretty good though. Orange flavor, citric acid, natural tea, caffeine. Oh yeah, it's not the green tea caffeine though. It tastes more like a black tea. L-theanine electrolytes, calcium chloride, potassium bicarbonate.
I didn't hear a sugar. What was the...
There is 75 milligrams of caffeine.
Is that in the orange stuff?
Yeah, there's no sugar at all.
No added sugar. I guess maybe it's just in like juice or something.
Yeah, it doesn't taste sugary at all. It tastes like flavor water. And this is manufactured in Louisville.
Oh, that's not far from us.
So are we counting this against the normal oranges?
Gluten free. This is
There's no wheat gluten in that, really?
It doesn't. The flavor does a good job of covering what would otherwise be bitter caffeine water.
What about, that would be a great brand. Bitter caffeine water. That's basically coffee, right?
I think it makes it a little chalky.
But are we putting this up against the other? Does this count as an orange soda alternative?
This is not really an orange soda alternative, but this would, like, if I had a 6-pack of this in the fridge and I'd spent a hard day working on my trees outside, I would definitely go for this.
What venue would you enjoy this in?
This is a good sort of any occasion drink. This doesn't you could just grab this, and it's not an overwhelming flavor. It's not an overpowering flavor.
It doesn't stand out in your mind.
Gives you a little shot of caffeine. Works out.
I don't think they would like that description if you're the focus people, because you basically just said that it's nothing to be.
It's unremarkable.
Yeah.
Its remarkableness is that it is so unremarkable. It doesn't taste like you need to have a special occasion to drink it, as with orange cream soda.
It's the gray man of sodas.
I mean, I would describe the Diet Orange Crush even more apoplectically. So this is pretty good.
Will this whole exercise just alienate you from Diet Orange Crush once you get back to it?
Yes, it absolutely will.
Well, that was kind of mission accomplished, right? We wanted to find an alternative because it was hard to find the Diet Orange Crush.
I don't know how available this is, though.
I don't know when it'll be here, but somebody sent me a note that they're sending me this jug thermos thing that looks really elaborate that I'm supposed to put orange slices in, and it will diffuse the orange slices into water. And I'm actually kind of excited about that.
I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction that you'll do that maybe 3 times. Maybe.
Because it's just too much work.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'll forget that thing, and there'll be a thick orange mold. And it'll be
Make your own
somewhere-
penicillin.
Yeah.
I'll probably be pretty good about remembering to empty the orange out of it, but then in the fruit basket, there'll be like a black shriveled lump. And it was like,
That's good compost
oh,
material.
right, oranges. Right. Those don't keep forever.
Speaking of keeping forever,
are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he did. We lost him. He
We
was
did.
gone to the ages, but
He's been reanimated.
like Lazarus, climbing back into our lives.
Microsoft threatens to resurrect Clippy as an office emoji.
I like that they
Microsoft-
used the term threatens.
They wanted 20,000 likes in return for Clippy. Oh, and they got him.
Now imagine this. Imagine that you are on the emoji team. You think there's an emoji team?
Yes.
Probably the UI team, right? And you're working away, you're doing your job at Microsoft, you're feeling good. Windows 11's coming out, it's your big time, and you get a memo. It was like, listen, one of the marketing people tweeted something, so you have
I
to
don't
do
want to
this
know.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange that they brought Clippy back because I think some of the other things that were in that version of Office were more popular, like the puppy. They actually made the puppy a part of Windows Search and Windows XP. It was like, you can't find something in the built-in Windows Search, and the little puppy comes out. It's like, I can't find it.
No, Clippy was like iconic, at
Yeah, I
least for
think
my
he's-
generation.
As a meme.
Oh no,
Right,
people
well-
loved Clippy.
But he was loathed, I think, as much as he was ironically loved, right?
Yeah.
The
He
puppy,
wasn't real helpful.
No. Yeah, he was useless. And his uselessness came at a time usually when you were already frustrated.
Yeah.
That was the thing about Clippy.
Yeah. It looks like you're writing a suicide note. Would you like some help?
What that mean?
Be careful of the grammar.
It looks
The
like
last
you're making
thing
a
everybody-
table, and then you try to make a table, and it just fucks up the whole document.
So, now, also, Microsoft has not confirmed they're actually going to do it, even though they got their likes that they required. So they might have just burned us on this. Somebody will have to do bootleg Clippy. Often, the big tech companies, what we know about them, for sure, is that they are terrified to offend anybody.
Yeah.
They're not sure exactly how to stop from doing that, so they will just cut to the bone to try and avoid it. And it leads to some really, really stupid decisions. And I would love, do you think there's any way, if we went in as an audit team and we're like, all right, we're going to get down to where this decision was made, could we ever find it?
No.
It would be amazing. If we could write a book about it, it would be a New York Times bestseller. I promise you.
How long of a book would that be, though?
69 pages.
Yeah, Apple's weather app won't say it's 69 degrees. So there was a weather update, and if you click on the source data, it shows 69 degrees, but it'll show 68 or 70. It never shows 69.
Because that's a sex act.
I probably would giggle if I saw it, but because I'm a child. But does anyone actually care about that?
Somebody did.
Enough to write code around it?
Maybe the Chinese government?
There was at least one meeting about this, and there was at least one person sitting in the meeting who had thoughts about, like, what am I doing with my
But
life?
only thoughts. They
Yeah.
did not vocalize those.
It's like, this should be my dream job. I'm working for the world's first $1 trillion company, and they have me writing an if statement in here to just...
But here's the thing about it. Above that, if temperature equals 69, is there a nasty comment?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's probably, it might not even be anything about it. It's like some idiot in marketing told me to put this in here.
I'll be disappointed if this is not an exhibit in the Smithsonian 100 years from now. It's like, they talk about things that happened in Rome before the fall of Rome. And, it's like, this is an historical thing that happened. There should be an exhibit for this. It's like, oh, they had their computers, which were, the most amazing
As
complex.
if there will be museums in 100 years.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's that blind optimism, thinking the Smithsonian's going to still be standing in 100 years.
As if we won't all just be roaming through the desert as raiders.
Well, we'll be dead.
Yeah, it's true in 100 years.
Maybe you'll have kids,
Maybe.
but I think the line ends are over here on this side of the table.
Yeah. Maybe the train raiders will still be around.
There is I've never read it, but there's a sci-fi series about like nuclear winter, but somehow there's still a train going. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
I've always been interested in that.
Engagement Challenge. That's actually really popular.
But if you were in that situation, this would be the train to have.
Yeah.
Because this is basically, how much was Steve Jobs' yacht?
I think it was like $650 million.
Yeah. This is basically that, but on tracks.
$350 million Palace on Rails luxury train concept unveiled.
Veiled.
Unveiled.
Unveiled. Yeah.
Unveiled. I'm an idiot. But yeah, let's look. It's toggleable though. Go back.
This shit's nicer than our houses.
You can hit a button and the car will not be transparent
The
anymore.
glass, yeah. It's like those meeting rooms where it'll frost them immediately.
Yeah.
But that'll stand up well to a collision.
The bath water? Yeah.
No, the glass.
Oh.
So you might be thinking, when can I get a ticket to this bad boy?
It's not been built. These are just concept art.
Yeah.
Well, even though it's not been built, you'll never get a ticket because this is not a public train. This is not for public transport. This is a private train. One guy gets to own this.
I would also like to point out the Lawrence of Arabia train that he ambushed in like 1831. It's still there in the desert. There's pictures of it. You can go see it. It's right where he left it.
So you're saying we're going back to the days where train robberies become a thing, right?
I bet this one's got countermeasures.
Probably, yeah.
Also a security team. That'd be a cush job, wouldn't it? Ride around on this train all day waiting for train robbers. Also, what do you think how much distance can you actually travel in the world on one train track? Because you're not going to be switching this to another track.
I was thinking about that, and it's like a yacht is infinitely more practical, and it's just crazy to say that.
There's probably a lot of countries in Europe you could go through on a train, right?
Well, for that price tag, a nice yacht with a helicopter pad. I mean, and then you can do anything you want.
We'll say in the U.S., I know a lot of our train lines are used for like commercial purposes. Do you think if you're someone who buys this train, do you like go on the commercial lines and then get angry when the commercial vehicles have like more precedence over you? Do you know who I am?
But you also have to park it, right? That's got to cost a lot.
Yeah.
You think it'll get tagged with graffiti? That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the train yard.
People jump on top of it. They're just riding it.
Well, what would you say? Give me your numeric level of hype for the 2021 Summer Olympics.
I probably won't watch it. I don't have cable.
I'm going to watch the weightlifting. The women's weightlifting, at least. But we can't say why I'm going to do that. The problem is the Olympics are going to be in Tokyo. Now, they're dealing with the pandemic again.
Right.
The old variant. We won't say which one. And they're saying that maybe people aren't even going to be able to show up and watch this. But that is not possibly, if you're a competitor, not the biggest problem.
Tokyo Olympics outdoor swimming venue smells like a toilet, quote unquote, smells like a toilet. They tested the presence of E. coli in the water. It was twice the recommended limit. They tried to clean it up, and now it smells worse.
So it seems like they're just going to go with it.
What body of water is this that they're swimming in?
It's an inland bay or something like that, I think is what they called it. Tokyo Bay. Yeah. And they've sort of partitioned a piece of it off, but the E. coli is still in there. They did point out that a bunch of rivers run into that, which is probably like how much industrial waste from Japan, and all of the sewage from Tokyo.
Well, there's your problem.
It's treated, but still, how much are you going to do to it? So that's certainly an extra challenge if you're a swimmer.
Didn't that happen a few years ago at another...
Brazil, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, they had the same problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's terrifying to think that like every country in the world, like you go into their bays and it's like, oh, it's just sewage. It's just poos.
Michael Phelps Jr. for the 100-meter sewage challenge.
Is there a Michael Phelps Jr.?
No.
I like... one of my favorite things about the Olympics is it seems like all of the housing and all of the infrastructure and stuff like that is so poorly and hastily done.
Yeah.
It's never good.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't understand. Like, it's great that we do it from like a team building exercise, but like it just seems like a huge waste of money and resources.
But under normal circumstances, you would make all that money back from your tourism.
Japan's
But
not going
this
to get
year,
that. Yeah.
So it's a tough one. We all know that Chick-fil-A is some of the best fast food that you'll get. But you do have some ideological concerns there. They are vocal, and they donate a lot of money to certain political causes that make certain people angry. And then we get into fights like this.
Lindsey Graham says he'll go to war for Chick-fil-A values. The U.S. Senator is upset that some Notre Dame students want to ban a fast food restaurant from coming to the campus.
Having Chick-fil-A at the food court at my university probably took about 5 years off my life.
We didn't have
It's
any
so
fast
good.
food restaurants at our school.
God, the biscuits for breakfast.
Yeah.
That was bad.
I feel like this is a weird thing to care about as
Well, he's
leader of the
pandering.
land. Yeah.
It boils down to the religion thing.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
Or I was gonna say, or Chick-fil-A paid him, one or the other.
Well, I'm sure that Chick-fil-A donates heavily to him, but it's chicken and egg, right? Like, they were already doing that.
Who cares?
Well, I'll tell you one company that cares, because where Chick-fil-A is up here, this company who used to be number one, remember when they were number
We
one?
should have got this web contract.
But this used to be the number one fast food location in the United States. You could walk 10 feet, there'd be another one.
Yeah.
But not anymore. And they're trying to sort of rehab their image. But recently they've taken a bit of a hit to it.
SubwayTunaFacts.com. Subway tuna is real tuna.
Underlined.
Underlined,
Real.
yeah.
That's right. It's like, okay, we know that you saw the news story about they did the DNA test for tuna and it didn't come back with anything, but you can't DNA test cooked meat.
So they got a whole bunch of questions and answers about the tuna. Subway tuna is real, has to be underlined every time.
Yeah.
Real.
That's in the brand guideline.
Real tuna. Look, it comes from a boat.
I really hope that they didn't pay their agency more than $5,000 for this website, because
Is all that text just in the image?
yeah,
Ugh.
the headlines are not correct. Like, they could have done some really amazing thing with scalable vector graphics here. There's so much opportunity to make this a much more engaging website, and they just
You can't even read it on mobile.
Oh, what a
It's-
piece of garbage.
This is what you get when you have a print designer doing web.
At
It's
the
just-
very
it's
least,
just
the
bad.
text should be legible because they're not going to get any SEO benefit from this.
Oh, at least the header changes. They did that much at least.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Don't embed text in images, chat.
Yeah, they don't understand what they got wrong about this, and it's just so. It makes me so angry.
I mean, that's one level of dystopia, but the higher level of dystopia is that they have to put out messaging like this at all.
But I don't know that this is necessarily settled, right? Because we've seen 2 articles already where another private, and it wasn't just like a random person, it was one of those papers. They did the testing, and they claim they also found no tuna.
Well, you can't test cooked meat. Do you want to eat raw tuna? Is this sushi way? No, it's Subway.
Eat fresh, but not that fresh.
Eat fresh is more of a command than a suggestion.
Eat fresh.
Well, common story that I like to throw in the old nonsense is abuse of power. Oh boy, is this an abuse of power?
Yeah, this is not going to stand up. I just don't know how many layers of the court system it's going to have to wind its way through. Woman charged with a hate crime for stepping on pro-police "Back the Blue" sign in Utah.
I mean,
She's going to be able to retire.
yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, if it's on private property, she probably shouldn't have done it. But
Well, she is in the wrong. Yeah, Krista, you're right.
Yeah.
But here's the
Big butt.
Here's the scenario. We got a ton of time. She gets a speeding ticket. She's not happy about this. She pulls off the road, gets out of her car, finds the "Back the Blue" sign, stomps on it, and gives the cop a dirty look. Now, obviously, what I've just described to you is an act of terrorism.
She was charged with a hate crime, not destruction of property.
yeah, I don't understand the hate crime because doesn't hate crime have to be like a underprivileged group somehow? Like, wouldn't
No, remember they changed the laws in a bunch of places to protect cops after the riots.
Wow.
Yeah.
This isn't going to end well for the PR team.
The word here is retaliatory.
It might have to go all the way to the Supreme Court, but she's going to get a 7-figure settlement.
But that's not going to help. Not going to stop them from doing it again.
No.
What has to happen is this particular cop really bad things need to happen to this cop. And I will just go ahead and say, you know what? They should drop all charges if this Officer Carter just goes to court and admits under oath that he is a little bitch man. This is not really a news story, but it's coming.
Interesting.
90 days from now, are you all ready for it?
National General Strike. What's a general strike? 90 days from now. This is a website calling on a general strike because of various reasons. Mishandling of the thing, the fact that minimum wage still hasn't been raised, some other malfunctioning things. Only 100 corporations are responsible for 71% of all global carbon emissions.
And something like 60 of them are in China. Come
Yeah.
on. What are we going to do about that? What you want, if you want to change that, what you want is a war. I don't want that.
I appreciate the general strike. I think it's not necessarily a bad idea, but we need to strike not just like one day off, which is what they're proposing, but rather do what the French do and just riot in the streets. We got a French riot. That's the only way.
How about we do what the French do a long time ago?
Make baguettes?
Guillotine?
Yes.
Oh.
That's how you change things. Did they stop making baguettes? They still do that.
Should we use the baguettes like swords? I don't.
No, we stuff them in their mouth after we chop their heads off and we mount them on stakes.
Yeah, that's probably where it's headed, unfortunately. But it's a good baby step, but we got to do it like the French do it.
But what do you think the participation rate will be? Participation rate?
Not great.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen a lot of posts on it online, but we'll see if people put their money where their mouth is.
A lot of low-level workers, a lot of minimum wage workers are going to do it and get fired.
I don't know that they can right now, though. Like, we're kind of in a place where a lot of management can't find other workers. So, like, just firing people like that, they might have enough leverage right now. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they might not by October, but...
Or things could change dramatically by October. I mean, think about how rapidly our world is changing right now.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that we do know is that privacy is pretty much dead. You can have it, but boy, is it expensive. And more people are trying to get in line to create something that stops all of this speech control. Unfortunately, they're usually only interested in doing it in one direction.
Yeah.
Like there's no platform. It's like, no, everybody gets to say whatever they want. I don't know if this one would fall into that, but if we think about what was Mike Lindell's one? I always forget the name.
MyPillow?
That's his company, but I'm talking about his social media failure.
Oh.
My social media?
Anyway, he had one, and then Getter. Remember Getter last week?
Which is apparently full of Sonic porn now?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I fear that this one might be the next one in line in that group.
Yeah. Freedom Calling. Bitcoin boss introduces a new uncensorable device that protects privacy and political thought. I don't think this is what this is. This seems like a cheap Chinese phone that's been cloned, and it doesn't seem like it's going to do any of those things.
I think that is actually what it is.
They took Android, cut out all the Android, and then sold a cheap phone. Did Huawei not already do that?
Yeah. They literally did that.
Huawei literally already did that.
Yeah.
So. Seems like a scam.
We'll see.
Don't take my word for it, though. What do I know?
He can send us one. We'll check it out. And I still don't understand how the OK sign became racist.
I think it was a 4chan thing that got out of control.
I thought it was just a troll, you're saying?
I think so.
I looked at this picture, and I want to say that I feel sorry for the guy.
Did they show them? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to say that I feel sorry for the guy. I don't know.
That looks like he could easily, he could have a booger between those two fingers.
He could also just be hunched over because my hands will just naturally, if I don't know.
Well, let's do the headline.
Universal Orlando faces lawsuit over actor's racist hand gestures. And Universal Orlando has said, oh my gosh, we are so sorry. We have fired the actor. We don't know what happened. This is terrible. We're so sorry that you were subjected to this. Absolutely. We definitely agree with you. And I don't know.
It doesn't look...
Get ready for it.
Yeah. Chat, you make a distinction here. I don't think it looks like he's doing it really intentionally.
We are of a race and creed that probably can't make that call.
But also, I mean, I find that, sometimes I'll do that, just when I'm talking to, emphasize a point, just as a gesture, and then I'm like, oh, crap, does that mean white supremacy now? I don't mean to do it, but, I mean, sometimes it's just a natural gesture to make.
Yeah, we were live streaming something once, and you were in the chat to manage it, and it was like, give us an okay sign if everything is okay. And I was like, okay. And it was like, oh.
Yeah, and then someone was laughing about it, and we were like, oh, shit.
No, I did that 100% on purpose.
Yeah.
Because it's nonsense. It's ridiculous. I will not play these games. I will do the okay symbol anytime I feel like it.
I had no idea at that point in time.
Because how stupid is it?
It is stupid, but someone takes that out of context, and it's like, oh shit, now I have to say, no, I'm not a racist. Sorry, I didn't know.
Anybody that takes that out of context, I don't want as a part of my life. I'm happy to jettison them and for them to be my enemy. I'm fine with that. Because that's not a person that, what good is going to come out of that relationship?
Anyway, kind of weird story.
Yep. This one shows the power of Activision. I think that there was probably a little more, let's call it, persuasion than was let on in this headline.
Auto aim cheat maker halts development at Activision's request. The developer says, my intent was never to do anything illegal. So this was apparently a cheat that worked by AI. You could actually capture the game footage on another computer and it would send mouse and keyboard movements. So how do you even detect that? And also, side note, if you're on Linux and there's all that anti-cheat stuff that happens on Linux that makes us suffer and, you know, bad things happen, look at this. You don't need that on Linux because of this.
But you raise a very good question there with what you said. If this is done with pure malicious intent, it's being sold, it's disrupting the game, is that and should it be illegal?
I think it is in South Korea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've passed laws, yeah.
It feels like such a trivial thing to bother making illegal.
Now, it seemed like the person that made this was not as interested in cheating as they were in researching AI.
Yeah.
This was just sort of a cool problem that they wanted to solve.
There's the AI for StarCraft also, which was really super interesting to watch and learn.
But you're talking about the one that they sanctioned, right? That they actually put on the ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got good at identifying that based on some little quirks that it would do.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like tweeting like, oh, I went up against the AI.
This is just wrong. There's another article that has some more details on this, and this was an attempt at fostering inclusion, but this story leaves that out mostly.
How does this accomplish that?
It doesn't, but it was just like we don't know what to do.
Here's my question. Like, a lot of people made some bad decisions here, right?
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that this guy didn't show up to the venue dressed like that. So at some point, he was in the bathroom in the children's section of a public library, and he was sliding on his belt.
I don't know. The other article that I read made it sound like that he did show up like that, and they gave him a pass because they thought it was because of inclusion.
So he was on a bus like this? I don't know. I don't think
we can't show the picture.
I don't think there's any defending this.
If you don't look at anything, you should go look at the picture because it's horrifying.
We'll scroll. Oh, this one's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
this picture's fine.
We weren't sure at first.
Hey kids, bare-bottomed monkey man with fake penis teaches kids to read. Don't stare at that picture too long because you begin to notice more and more things wrong with
Yeah,
it.
I just noticed
The nipples.
There's nipples on that vest, and that's something.
That's not okay.
And I don't think those are. I think those are just his nipples, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just cut
Oh,
out.
it's just cut out.
Yeah.
I thought it was like plastic ones or something.
But every picture of him, he has that same expression. I think he was in character the entire time.
He looks kind of like Michael Cera.
Yeah. So the one article I read said that this was some sort of like inclusion thing. Like he was going for, like they were being inclusive, but I don't know. Maybe it's like, oh, I booked another venue. I need to go somewhere else.
No. This is, so these kinds of library shows are all about sexuality and making kids more open-minded about that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know how this leads to that.
Is that, well, I don't know what age he was reading to, but like, is that really age appropriate?
They were pretty young. Yeah, no, not at all.
Like, because I can understand teaching you about like, hey, this is your body. You don't need to share it with other people. That seems like age appropriate. This seems a little mature for a young age group, but
apparently this was to promote children's reading. As the children were leaving, they're like, I don't know, do you have any kind of literature that can explain what the hell just happened to me? Because I got nothing here, buddy.
it's strange.
Nothing about my existence has prepared me for this. So maybe don't do that. How are these groups of children getting to these libraries? Are parents not accompanying them?
No, it's like daycare. It's like you drop it off for...
Then you deserve what you get.
I don't know that that's true. Well, so like my sister-in-law takes her kids to the library for like the reading, things like that, but she usually stays with them.
Yeah, as long as the parents are there.
Sometimes there's like the classes though, where it's like, there's 20 or 30 kids, you sign up and, you show up and you drop it off and you come back in 3 hours.
You pull up to the side of the library, push your kid out with your foot.
And just wheel away rapidly.
Enjoy the drag show, little Timmy.
It always blows my mind too. So a similar sort of thing to that is that like IKEA has the daycare in it. I'm not saying that like the IKEA people are bad or anything, but it's like, I don't know anything about those IKEA people. Why would I leave my kid with them?
And if I were someone who wanted to target children, wouldn't that be an attractive job?
It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm sure that they're like, I don't know, but are they though? Like, why would you work at a furniture store if you wanted to work with kids? Weird. Anyway, that's kind of a tangent. Not important.
Well, this is there's no joke we can make here that's not already been made. The headline is the joke.
Truck carrying 10 tons of ramen noodles crashes into an Arkansas lake.
Ramen?
Ramen.
You get weird pronunciations today. Is it because
it's the orange?
It's the orange, yeah.
it's making us
It's getting in your brain.
Ramen. I've actually called it ramen noodles.
I've heard both. I feel like ramen is usually like more of a southern pronunciation.
Yeah, it's like the country mispronunciation of the Japanese
I got them
word.
ramen noodles.
For sales.
Yeah.
But that's what, like $100? That's also in the article.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
Because it's 20,000 pounds, but they're cheap.
They're
also,
delicious.
That's got to be a lot of sodium in that water, don't you think?
Yeah, those fish are dead. Yeah.
It's not really submerged, though. I mean, maybe it's the product's ruined, I'm sure, but or maybe it'll show up at Ollie's. I don't know.
Yeah, but those little packages are so weak. I don't think they stay watertight for very long at all.
Yeah.
Although the sodium packs are more. Over time, it'll be a slow release of sodium.
I've got an engagement challenge for our next story.
Well, what could you possibly have in common with this? So, obviously, a big part of music is beat per minute. You know, it's like, how fast is this song? Is it an up-tempo song? Is it a down-tempo song? And why would that ever matter? Why would you ever need to consider that when you're listening to a song? We have the answer out of Korea.
Under new curbs, because of the worldwide situation, and people may be recovering or they may have latent issues as a result of the thing, gyms can play butter, but not Gangnam Style. And the reason, beats per minute. They don't want anything with a beats per minute over 120.
Why? Because apparently that spreads disease more because you're breathing heavy.
Well, they just imagine people just, like starting to dance in the gym, or?
No, they have like, classes like bike classes and stuff like that. So they're now controlling the playlist. I've never heard Butter. Do you guys, are you familiar?
I didn't know Butter? That song either. Who was it by? Did it mention?
Maybe we can go stream it from the YouTubes.
Gangnam Style, of course, is by the Korean pop star Psy.
I imagine Butter is too, because this is a story out of Korea. So yeah.
That's I would think that no matter how fast you're breathing, that just being in a class full of other people, you would be at risk.
But also, like on the bike, are you just not? Do they think that extra beats per minute is going to motivate you that much harder?
I mean, sometimes that's true, but I think the problem is you're just in a small space with other people. That seems like the idea of security and not actual security.
I think this article is some sort of ableism against people that are able to correctly perceive beats.
Well, you at least understand the frequency up and down, right? I mean, I know you can. You can parse that.
I can parse it, but I can't maintain synchrony with it.
I have only recently come to use and appreciate the magic eraser. Have you guys used the magic eraser?
Yes. Oh. Every time I've moved, I get a magic eraser to scrub the walls.
An amazing product.
Yeah.
Incredible. And not just for the bathroom and kitchen anymore.
TikTok trend of whitening your teeth with Mr. Clean Magic Eraser is not safe, dentists say. It's like powdered sulfuric acid or something. It's a cleaning chemical. Don't clean your teeth with it. It's like, you can clean your teeth with it. Just rinse your mouth out real good. Not a good idea.
Well, so you say, but according to this random TikToker, nothing better.
Never thought about doing that, but that does seem like that would be an incredible teeth whitening regimen.
I think there's a similar sort of thing. Now, I think it's more of a trend, so I might upset some people in our comments, but they say, some people are like, oh, you have to use charcoal on your teeth. But I think it's that same thing, though, like where it's really abrasive. It's actually not good for your teeth.
No, you can get toothpaste with charcoal in it.
Mm-hmm.
But everything I've read from dentists is like, please don't use that. It is too abrasive.
Does it take off the enamel?
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know. If you're a dentist, comment below. Actually, Wendell, we know a dentist who could probably comment on that for us.
Yeah, it's like, don't do that.
Now, here's my other question. And Krista, maybe you'll understand what this is, but she gave a 3-step process. Step 2 was oil pulling?
Yes. I had a friend who did this for a while. You get something like coconut oil or like some sort of liquid oil, and then you swish it around in your mouth and you spit. And it's supposed to help get more plaque and crap off your teeth. I don't know how effective it actually is, but
I think big coconut oil's behind that.
People use coconut oil for everything. They use it for their face too, and probably not the best choice for a face oil because it's I can't pronounce this word, comedogenic or whatever, so it clogs your pores. It's good for your hair though.
Oil tips.
Yeah.
Today only. Cigarettes. I do not see many people smoking. Your mom quit smoking, right?
Yep.
That shocked me.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I was not expecting that.
Is she using a vape or did she just quit cold turkey?
No, she sort of tapered off over a very long time, but it probably tapered off over like a year.
Oh, how is hubby dealing with the ban on vape shipments?
I don't know that it's really affected him. He's gotten a couple. Not super recently.
Illegal vapes?
Yeah.
Well, smoking, it does seem to be on the decline, and I guess if you're looking on a 20-year horizon, you think anybody will still be doing it? I don't think Philip Morris thinks anybody will be doing it at that time because they're pivoting.
Cigarette maker Philip Morris to buy UK producer of respiratory treatments.
Now, what do you think is the number one cause of the need for respiratory treatments?
Well, that would be smoking, followed by asthma.
Maybe not this year.
Or pollution.
But it's definitely going to be a built-in demand, right?
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong with a company like Philip Morris making vital life-saving drugs? Certainly there's no conflict of interest there at all.
To solve the problem they created. It's beautiful.
We call our product Lead Away. It gets rid of the lead in gasoline from its accumulation. It's like, why is this?
Why was that in there in the first place?
Thanks, Chevron.
Brought to you by National Lead. Now we've seen a lot of stories about dog poop being tested for DNA, and I think Tel Aviv, as an entire city, is going to start doing it, as a city service. So that's something that's definitely going to get more and more popular. But here is a much less used form of DNA tracking.
Olympic National Forest lumber thief has been convicted thanks to tree DNA. So these three people cut down some trees, and they sort of also set a fire trying to kill a beehive because there was a beehive in the trees. They killed the bees.
They killed the bees and they started a 3,000 acre forest fire.
Oh,
yeah.
Bet that killed more bees.
They killed a lot of things, yeah. And they were able to trace the tree that they sold to a lumber mill by the tree's DNA.
It was literally, I think the biologist who testified in the case said it was like a 0.0003% chance that it was a different tree based on the genetic material. There's like, he absolutely stole it from the national forest. And the guy got 10 years in prison for that.
Do we consider that dry snitching on the trees part?
I'm glad that forest burned. Snitches get stitches.
What do we, what's the DNA test cost these days? Are they getting pretty reasonable?
Like $8.
Really?
That makes sense then. I've definitely rescued a lot of cats from this predicament, but that's considerably less risky than this one will be.
Ooh.
Wildlife officials looking for a bear with a bucket on its head. This is, I guess, footage for somebody's Ring doorbell or something.
Oh, look how sad he is.
He's got enough of his snout out the front that he won't die from this, but I'm sure he's embarrassed.
And probably in pain. That doesn't look real comfortable.
Super annoyed. Doesn't look like he's grooming himself all that well.
Look at that cage they put on that bird feeder. They know he's there.
Yeah.
This was for him.
Seems like a bear would wreck the banister and the railing too. You'd have to have some pretty substantial railing to deal with a bear.
Well, he's losing weight.
Something about this image reminds me of when we did the story about the pigeons with the cowboy hats.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Although not nearly as fashionable.
No. And as horrible as that was, it was kind of funny that they glued hats on pigeons, but don't do that. It was funny, but only once.
So I've been watching, trying to live a healthier lifestyle, and YouTube is all over me with that. And it's recommending all these different videos. And they're interesting. I'm learning about all the oils and stuff, all the stuff that's killing me, basically. I'm more scared. But one thing I'm on now, pasture-raised eggs. Right? So cage-free, buzzword, according to these people. I don't know if it's true or not. Free range, ethical, none of that means anything. Pasture-raised is what you got to buy. Now, regular eggs, what dollar at the dollar store? Pasture-raised eggs, $5.45. But I'm paying it because, damn it, I want those chickens to have a good life.
I do. I also want
What's the difference between free range and pasture-raised?
So free range apparently is like just a marketing word. It doesn't mean
There's no
anything.
legal definition.
But
of it.
pasture raised has a legal definition that they have to be like out.
There's a lot of stuff like that for a lot of different brands, and once you start researching that, it's like, oh, so if there's no legal definition, they just make up whatever.
It is sort of surprising when it's like, oh, is there a legal definition for pasteurized? Oh, well, it took us a while to add that, yes.
And I'm probably not getting a lot of benefit from those eggs, and I'm probably really not helping at all. It's really just for my own feeling better.
Are they delicious?
They're eggs.
Yeah.
And but that is exactly the same thing that's going on here. These people can probably afford it more than I can.
Drug dealers marketing ethically sourced cocaine. That's woke coke. Yeah.
But if you're using cocaine, at least in the United States, it had to be trafficked here.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing ethical about what goes on in that world.
Now, when they say ethically sourced, does that like the people are paid a fair wage, or is that like...
This is in the UK, so who knows?
Which I'm not sure. Does anywhere in the world actually export cocaine legally?
I don't think so.
It seems impossible.
There's some places that have decriminalized it, but not any that I think you can trade it.
Possession, not manufacture.
Yeah.
Manufacture's not allowed anywhere. So that's a lie that really stupid people are overpaying for their coke. Is that a good or a bad thing? I'm not sure.
It's artisanal Coke.
Yeah, that's basically what they're selling, right? It comes in like a nicely wrapped baggie, with some ribbon tied around it. Maybe a little flag on it. And our final story has to do with cows. We love stories about cows, but this cow is like none that has ever existed as far as we know.
Thousands flock to see a 23-month-old dwarf cow, Rani, in Bangladesh. Is it Rani?
I think that's how I would pronounce that.
Yeah.
It's tiny. It's
so small.
The owners were making a big deal about the fact that it's smaller than the smallest cow listed in the Guinness Book of World Records.
20 inches, not even 2 feet.
He looks a little hunched, which is sad, but maybe he's okay.
He might have some health issues.
Oh.
He looks hunched in this one too.
Yeah, this may be a genetic defect.
So a lot of people are coming to visit this animal. I don't know exactly why. I guess they just want to see the magic. But a lot of the owners and the people who are, environmentalists are saying, no, this is bad for the little cow.
Yeah, it's we have animals that show up like this from time to time in eastern Kentucky. It's almost certainly because the parents got into the slurry.
What do you think Bangladesh has that would be
The slurry
comparable
equivalent.
to the slurry?
Probably cast-offs from like dye processes for clothing. There's a lot of clothing manufacturing that happens in Bangladesh.
I didn't make an internet the technology tie-in. I don't know how well those stories are. A lot of people are not reporting it, but South Africa,
Yeah.
they are burning every piece of industrial. Like, how much environmental damage are we doing in South Africa right now?
Yeah. It seems like a lot of countries are kind of like teetering a little bit between Cuba and South Africa, and there's a lot of riot footage to watch right now.
It's weird. It's almost like we bottled up all the rage for a year or two and then let that cook until it exploded.
I really hope it doesn't turn into the thing that happened in South America with like the whole Dole Fruit Company and, that whole thing. That would be bad.
It's already bad. We've already entered into bad.
On that sour note,
If you need something to do to get your mind off of it, check out that Linode link and get a $100 credit.
and new stuff in the store. Hooray!
Also, all Linodes ethically sourced.
Yeah, don't worry about this stuff. Instead, work on your understanding of WebAssembly because it's definitely the future.
Linode only launches pasture-raised distros.
Thanks, Linode. We'll see you next week.
Bye!